Chapter 930. Great! Perfect Blood Devil's Son Bloodline. Tai Hongnan was overjoyed, and his eyes twinkled. He immediately stood up, and a terrifying fiery aura spread out. If it wasn't for the fact that the imperial palace was sturdy and had the protection of draconic providence, this hall would have instantly collapsed. These words made the other forces look at the glass-like red light around Zhao Feng's body in shock. Perfect Blood Devil's Son Bloodline. That was a bloodline that could be ranked in the top 10 of the imperial Dao bloodlines. If the Tai family could control this bloodline again, it wouldn't be impossible for them to become a 4-star imperial Dao bloodline in the future. The hearts of the Dong family's elders hung in the air. The expressions of the other forces kept on changing. The blood of the red-haired male next to Tai Hongnan started to boil. Perfect Blood Devil's Son bloodline, the red-haired male thought as he stared at Zhao Feng, battle intent radiating from his eyes. Zhao Feng's expression was grim as he opened his golden eye, and a desolate aura flowed out from the mysterious golden ball in the dimension of his left eye. The Blood Devil's Son bloodline within his body instantly trembled and calmed down. Tai Hongnan was still in the joy of seeing the perfect Blood Devil's Son bloodline, but he realized that Zhao Feng had suppressed the bloodline power that had gone out of control. Tai Hongnan's eyes scanned over Zhao Feng's eye, and he was slightly surprised. This brat's body contained such a powerful eye bloodline. The feeling that this eye bloodline gave Tai Hongnan wasn't any weaker than the Ji family's Purple Star Eyes bloodline. Tai Hongnan couldn't see through it. Many special bloodlines had appeared in the Tai family apart from the Blood Devil's Son bloodline, but no eye bloodline had ever appeared. It should be the bloodline power of the original Zhao Feng. Tai Hongnan already had a guess. A bloodline that could suppress the perfect Blood Devil's Son bloodline definitely wasn't simple. However, there didn't seem to be any eye bloodline that was ranked higher than the Blood Devil's Son bloodline. Could it be that Zhao Feng had a bloodline from the 10,000 ancient races? Tai Hongnan's expression changed dramatically. This was the only possibility. He originally planned to forcefully keep Zhao Feng in the Tai family and have a few children for the Tai family. However, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline piqued his interest. It was extremely rare for someone to possess 2 top-grade bloodlines at the same time. As long as such a person didn't die prematurely, he would definitely become one of the most influential figures in the continent. It was completely feasible for the Iron Clan to nurture such an outsider genius. Furthermore, the fact that Zhao Feng possessed 2 bloodlines meant that the 2 bloodlines would not conflict with each other. It was very likely that his descendants would inherit both bloodlines at the same time. The perfect Blood Devil's Son bloodline, and the primordial bloodline. Tai Hongnan felt his blood boiling. If they could keep a powerful eye bloodline that wasn't any weaker than the Purple Star Eyes in the Tai family, the Tai family would definitely surpass their peak and reach unprecedented heights. Zhao Feng, are you willing to return to my Tai family? Tai Hongnan's tone was gentle, and his choice of words was completely different. It was as if an elder was talking to a younger generation of the Tai family, who had been separated from the outside world. I'm not from the Tai family, and I'm not interested. Zhao Feng didn't even think before answering. From Tai Hongnan's gaze just now, he knew that the Tai family was after his left eye. If he joined the Tai family, then everything would be out of his control, and the secret of the god eye might be leaked. There was no guarantee that the Tai family wouldn't take other measures after using Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, the blood flowing through your body is the blood of the Tai family. Today, I've brought your mother as well. Tai Hongnan was slightly surprised, but he didn't get angry and continued to speak. He had some understanding of Zhao Feng's personality from Tai Litian, so he had already made preparations. Feng, or I'm your mother. The beautiful woman behind Tai Hongnan immediately stepped forward and cried out in agony. She already knew that her true son was no longer here. However, this body was her son's, and that was enough. She would rather be muddle-headed and see that Zhao Feng was alive and do something for him. I'm sorry, but my mother is only one person. Zhao Feng looked at Tai Xiuli and Tai Hongnan with a certain gaze. He had abandoned them back then, so why did he have to do this now? There was a cause and effect. Zhao Feng, you're currently using the body of a disciple of the Tai family. Tai Hongnan was a hot-tempered person, and his tone became vicious when he saw that Zhao Feng didn't give him any face. That can't be right. Sacred Lord, the original owner of this body is called Zhao Feng, and he's a member of the Zhao family. Zhao Feng had already thought of an explanation for the Tai family's reason. Some of the people present didn't know much about Zhao Feng's situation. They started to understand the cause of this matter from their conversation. Zhao Feng had most likely taken the body of a disciple that the Tai family had abandoned and accidentally awakened the perfect blood devil sun bloodline. However, the current Zhao Feng wasn't the original Zhao Feng. Furthermore, Zhao Feng didn't have any intentions of joining the Tai family. However, would Zhao Feng's resistance be of any use in front of the Tai family's pressure? The expressions of some of the 3-star forces and families were grim. Zhao Feng has such a background. Xian Yuan felt his head hurt. So it's the perfect blood devil sun bloodline. Xian Wuheng thought back to the short fight he had with Zhao Feng in the divine illusion dimension. His blood and true Yuan had been sucked away in close combat for no reason. Furthermore, I'm now a member of the 9th Prince's team. Sacred Lord, isn't it a bit? Zhao Feng smiled faintly and continued. According to the rules of the battle to be crown prince, Tai Hongnan's current actions were already against the rules. Tai Hongnan didn't dare to do anything since he was in the imperial palace. Tai Hongnan's expression changed dramatically, and his face turned red with anger. A measly void god realm king that wasn't a member of the Tai family dared to reject his invitation and act in such a manner? Even though he was an elder of the Tai family, he had never met such a situation before. An invisible aura of heat rose, and the bodies of the kings and emperors in the hall became dry as if they were on fire. Senior Hongnan, please calm down. The fight for the spots is about to begin. The 4th prince immediately stood up and went up to stop Tai Hongnan's anger. Zhao Feng bowed and left the hall the 4th prince was in. Everyone go up. The fight for the spots is about to begin. The 4th prince calmed down. The 10 members present instantly stood up. All of them had extraordinary auras. Zhuge Yun, Xian Yuan, Xian Wuheng and the red-haired male were among them. Zhao Feng headed straight for the arena in the martial arts field after leaving the hall. The arena was made from heaven-grade ores and contained a large number of arrays. Even early-stage mystic light realm experts would only be able to damage it slightly. There was also a barrier around the arena, and draconic providence suppressed it to prevent the aura of battle from spreading. At this moment, the 9th Prince's people were already seated in the arena. This included Olding, Zhou Suer, Shinjizi and Shiyulei. There was also a middle-aged male with a deep and calm aura, and a skinny female in black clothes. This was the battle to be crowned prince. The members of Zhao Feng's team. Each of them specialized in their own area of expertise, and they all had peerless talent. Apart from Zhou Suer, almost all of them were experts from the previous generation, or even older. Zhao Feng, why did the Tai family come to find you? Zhou Suer immediately asked as soon as she sat down. Sacred Lord Tai Hongnan of the Tai family had personally come to find Zhao Feng. This wasn't a small matter. The other members next to her were also curious. The conversation between Zhao Feng and Tai Hongnan was isolated from the outside world. Only the members within the hall could hear it. They could only see Tai Hongnan's extremely angry expression. They really wanted to know what had made Tai Hongnan so angry. On the other hand, the person in question, Zhao Feng, still had a calm expression. You want me to join the Tai family? Zhao Feng gave a simple reply. Apart from Olding and Shinjizi, everyone else looked at Zhao Feng with gaping mouths. They had only heard of Zhao Feng's reputation, but they had never seen his abilities. What skill did Zhao Feng have to make the Tai family send out Tai Hongnan to invite him to join the Tai family? Forget it if you don't want to say it. Zhou Suer became slightly angry and didn't believe him. She thought that Zhao Feng just made up an excuse because he didn't want to say it. Everyone else also thought that Zhao Feng was joking. You're full of nonsense. Shiyulei harumphed coldly. The Tai family was one of the top families of the 8 big families. How could an inner elder of the Tai family send out an invitation to an outsider? When all the members arrived on the stage, the fights for the spots began. This one is Zhou Wenwei from Clearwind Hall. I would like to see Senior Jing Kai's strength. A skinny middle-aged male immediately walked over with clear and confident eyes. He challenged the male with a calm aura in the group. Clear Wind Hall was a normal 3-star force that supported the 9th prince, so they didn't get a spot. The male with a calm aura next to Zhao Feng stepped forward. At this moment, the other arenas had already started their challenges. There were fights, arrays, and soul battles. Zhao Feng circulated his left eye and watched all the fights on the 10 arenas with a 360-degree view. Only by knowing oneself and knowing one's enemy would one have a chance of winning. Zhao Feng revealed a faint smile. 1.5 years ago, he had defeated a Grandmaster Beast Tamer with a pet from the 10,000 ancient races. News of this happening in the Imperial Palace had probably spread long ago. There shouldn't be anything left for him to do. Boom. Jing Kai's condensed aura instantly spread, and a blinding golden light that seemed to pierce through everything revolved around his body. A long azure sword appeared in Zhou Kai's hand. The sword gave off a cold light, and it created a gust of wind as it moved. The two of them were both emperors, and they instantly clashed. Jing Kai's attacks were endless, and the golden light was everywhere. On the other hand, although Zhou Wenwei's movements were agile and his attacks were sharp, Jing Kai had the initiative right from the start, forcing him to only defend and dodge. Pierce. The golden light around Jing Kai suddenly gathered, and turned into a transparent sword that gave off a blinding golden light. It stabbed forward with a powerful force. At the same time, several large wooden vines suddenly appeared from the ground below and blocked off all of Zhou Wenwei's escape routes. Boom. Zhou Wenwei's body seemed to be pierced by 10,000 rays of golden light, and he was thrown off the arena and spat out a mouthful of blood. Thank you, Senior Jing, for showing mercy. Zhou Wenwei was carried away by the elders of Clear Wind Hall. Some of the members of the 9th Prince's team that didn't know Jing Kai well had a low opinion of his strength. The metal element was sharp and domineering, and he specialized in the wood element as well, which allowed him to catch opponents off guard and control them. He was indeed an outstanding battle-type member. He's actually an expert of the metal and wood elements. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. Furthermore, Jing Kai had a good grasp of these two elements. The metal element attacked while the wood element healed. They didn't interfere with each other. Chapter 931. After Jing Kai displayed his strength, it was obvious what the woman in black was good at. It had to be a soul attack type. Originally, this spot should have been Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng had taken the Beast Tamer spot. I'm Guxiang from the Void Ocean Pavilion. Lady Su Qingling, please come out and spar with me. A kind-looking elder holding a wooden staff slowly walked out from the 9th Prince's hall. Before the battle, some forces that didn't get a spot started to analyze the people who had the easiest spots to fight for. Shi Yulei was from the Shi family, one of the 8 big families. He was a peerless genius from the previous generation, and his strength was impeccable. Olding was a member of the upper echelon of the Royal Skynet. He specialized in tracking and was very experienced. It was said that he had a lot of information about the imperial tombs. Olding had the battle power of a quasi-sacred lord, so no one would fight for such an important spot. Zhou Su was the princess that the sacred emperor used to love. She was famous for her medical skills, and even the grandmasters of the Imperial Physician Pavilion praised her. No one knew about her situation, but as a member of the royal family, it was best not to mess with her. There was also Shinjizi, who had been famous for 100 years. There weren't many clairvoyants, and none of the forces had won. As for Zhao Feng, he had a bloodline from the 10,000 ancient races. If he couldn't take out a mystic light realm pet, he had no chance of winning. Therefore, the final result was Jing Kai and Su Qingling. Su Qingling was from the younger generation, but she wasn't very famous. The force behind Su Qingling was the weakest of the 10 Grand Duke's houses, and it was the only one that supported the 9th Prince. Inside the 9th Prince's hall, the master of Grand Duke's house stroked his beard and smiled, not worried at all. Su Qingling slowly walked out and said in a cold voice, "Please." Buzz. A powerful wave of soul intent surged out of Guxiang's body, turning into dozens of white pillars of light that shot toward Su Qingling. Pillar of Soul. Guxiang circulated his will of soul. Dozens of white soul light pillars were connected by a powerful soul power, forming a huge soul pillar with a majestic aura. It was as if this attack would knock Su Qingling's soul out of her body. Su Qingling's expression was cold as a cold soul power spread out from her body and floated in the air. Shield. Su Qingling lightly spat out a single word. She then waved her hands in the air. Her fingers rapidly wrote something as a cold soul power spread out. In an instant, a huge soul sigil floated in the air. Then this seal turned into a soul defensive shield full of runes. What a strange soul secret technique. Gu Xiang's eyes flashed. He had heard of the seal soul secret technique before, but he didn't expect to encounter it today. Boom. The soul pillar slammed into the soul shield. The clash of souls caused the souls of some experts with weaker soul wills to tremble. After the pillar of souls and the soul shield collided violently, both of them collapsed. Su Qingling's defensive mystic technique completely blocked Gu Xiang's powerful soul attack. Take this. Soul prison. Gu Xiang shouted. His long white hair fluttered in the wind as a large amount of pale white soul power gushed out from his body. Wung wung wung, white pillars appeared above Su Qingling and formed a circle that looked like a cage. They brought with them a mountain-like soul intent as they slammed down. This was a large-scale soul imprisonment technique. Su Qingling's soul secret technique was completely countered. Zhao Feng's expression froze. This elder's soul power was extremely strong, and this soul prison was very similar to his soul chain. However, it consumed a lot of soul power and wasn't very practical. On the other hand, Su Qingling's soul secret technique was extremely profound. Zhao Feng only managed to find a single term in his memories: seal soul secret technique. I seal. The cold female's expression didn't change. She slightly raised her head and drew a large soul sigil with her hands above her head. Wang, the two soul runes suddenly opened, and the invisible power of the soul runes crashed into the soul prison. Gu Xiang's soul prison was instantly sealed by a powerful and mysterious soul intent, causing its power to decrease. At the same time, a powerful soul intent swept out and covered the entire soul prison in a layer of ice. After being sealed in ice, the soul prison started to slowly descend and was no longer a threat. At this moment, Su Qingling took a few steps forward and left the range of the soul prison. Sword. Su Qingling's eyes were cold as she stretched out her arm, and a strange soul intent flashed. I admit defeat. Gu Xiang sighed helplessly. He had already used more than half of his soul intent to use the soul prison. Furthermore, Su Qingling's soul secret technique was extremely weird. It was the seal soul secret technique that had been lost in history, and he was far inferior in terms of cultivation. The battle was over. Many soul experts that wanted to fight for this spot immediately backed off. Many people couldn't understand Su Qingling's soul secret technique at all. The other people on the arena finally looked at this female seriously. Zhao Feng had to admit that this female's mastery of the soul secret technique wasn't bad. However, her soul intent wasn't strong enough, or else she would have been able to use even more power. Although this secret technique was strong, it required talent, and it wasn't suitable for those with eye bloodlines. Although the ninth prince doesn't have many people, all of them are elites. Duke Nanfeng smiled faintly as confidence appeared in his eyes. The ninth prince's eyes also lit up. The battle power that Su Qingling displayed was extraordinary. The patriarch of Grand Dukeland's palace looked at Su Qingling and smiled. The seal soul secret technique was a mysterious inheritance that Su Qingling had obtained in the divine illusion dimension, and she had only comprehended a small portion of it. After Jing Kai and Su Qingling's battle power was revealed, no one from the forces behind the ninth prince dared to challenge him. Su Qingling's special soul secret technique in particular made the other members on the stage become more serious. Although the forces behind the ninth prince were weak, the people under him were still outstanding. After the battle ended, Zhao Feng turned his attention to the other arenas. The arenas with the most battles were mainly for the princes that were ranked at the bottom and had no intention of fighting for the position of crown prince. The overall strength of the people on the arena was weaker, but there were more spots, so the competition was intense. However, none of these princes had any intention of fighting for the position of crown prince, so they weren't much of a threat. Zhao Feng focused on the arenas with the top 4 princes: the 4th prince, 13th prince, 7th prince, and 8th prince. With a thought, Zhao Feng looked toward the arenas with the 13th prince's members: Tang Zhe of the Earth Demon Cult, Please come out for a battle. In the arena, an old man in a purplish-black robe was staring at a figure in a black robe with a sinister look in his eyes. The Earth Demon cult was a 3-star superpower behind the 13th Prince. The black-robed figure was a member that the 13th Prince had personally recruited, and he took one of the battle spots. However, the other members didn't even know the black-robed figure's name. They only knew that he was a half-step sacred lord. Hence, many forces behind the 13th Prince had their eyes on this spot. The black-robed figure slowly stood up, and an eerie aura of death spread out. Come. A hoarse voice sounded in the soul. An expert that specializes in the soul. Tang Ze was startled. Although he didn't specialize in the soul intent wasn't his weakness. Since the other party specialized in the soul, then the physical aspect was definitely weak. Tang Ze revealed a sinister smile, and opened his little world. The little world of a half-step sacred lord was the limit of what the real world could handle. A dark and eerie substance instantly appeared behind Tang Ze, and filled the entire arena. An invisible law and intent surged toward the black-robed figure. Die. In his own small world, Tang Ze's combat prowess multiplied. He carried a berserk black chi flow as he charged out like a demon from hell. Humph! The black-robed figure snorted coldly. The instant Tang Ze charged, the figure waved his robes, and a slender arm covered in bandages appeared. The pitch-black power of death surged out. Whoosh! Whoosh! The black-robed figure's robes brushed past Tang Ze's body, and a powerful intent of death surged out. A forbidden soul fluctuation instantly attracted everyone. Under the black-robed figure's robes, Tang Ze froze in the air. All of his true Yuan life force and soul were sucked away by a whirlpool of death. A terrifying aura of death enveloped Tang Ze and attacked every pore of his body. Ark! New! Tang Ze instantly let out a sharp roar. The dark little world on the arena slowly disappeared. Whoosh! The black-robed figure withdrew his arm and pulled back his robes. A set of bones fell from the sky. Everyone in the 13th Prince's hall felt their hearts go cold. The experts that were preparing to fight for the black-robed figure felt a chill run down their backs, as if they had just brushed past death. Who was that black-robed figure? What kind of skill was this? How was he so strong? With just one wave of his hand, he had killed a veteran of the Earth Demon cult in such a tragic manner. Merciless. In the surrounding arenas, in the main hall, the experts of various forces were also stunned by this scene. They felt their souls tremble when they looked at the black-robed figure. They were all quasi-sacred lords, but this black-robed figure was so strong. Even Xian Wuheng, Xian Yuan 1, and company on the 4th Prince's arena had solemn expressions as they looked at the black-robed figure with caution. The ones with the worst expressions were the soul elemental experts. After entering the imperial tombs, they were the ones who dealt with the soul attacks. However, it was because they specialized in the soul that they understood how terrifying this black-robed figure was. What a powerful death soul intent! Su Qingling exclaimed in surprise. Intent of death! Zhao Feng used his left eye, but he couldn't see through the black-robed figure. It was blocked by a mysterious power. This black-robed figure's intent wasn't any weaker than his. The intent of death he grasped reminded Zhao Feng of the Emperor of Death, but this black-robed figure was even more terrifying. As expected, the team members of the princes ranked at the top aren't normal. The elder of the Earth Demon cult instantly stood up and released the aura of a sacred lord. He glared at the black-robed figure and said coldly, "You've gone too far. If you don't give the Earth Demon cult an explanation after the battle for Crown Prince ends, humph." Although the black-robed figure was strong and mysterious, he was alone. The Earth Demon cult was a 3-star superpower, so how could they take this lying down? The black-robed figure ignored them and returned to his seat. The two members next to him instantly trembled. Chapter 932. The appearance of the black-robed person caused the intense fight for the spots to suddenly calm down. He was cruel and terrifying, and he didn't fear the Earth Demon cult at all. He instantly killed a quasi-sacred lord expert. This made the hearts of the princes who didn't want to fight for the position of Crown Prince shake. Their strength wasn't top tier, and they would definitely die if they met the black-robed person in the imperial tombs. Some of the geniuses who were about to fight for a spot instantly stopped. The imperial tombs was the resting place of the upper echelon of the imperials, and it was also where the crown prince was born. The death rate in the crown prince trial was very low. If it wasn't for the fact that there was a grudge between the two forces, they wouldn't kill each other in order to avoid conflicts. On the other hand, the princes participating in the trial were even less dangerous. However, this black-robed person didn't seem to have any thoughts, and he didn't care at all. He was cold and bloodthirsty. He didn't even put the 3-star Earth Demon cult in his eyes and killed Tang Zhe on the arena. However, the black-robed person's strength made some of the sacred lords present wary. This increased the death rate in the Crown Prince trial. Within the 13th Prince's hall, the powerful male behind the 13th Prince recovered from his daze and sent a message. "Chun'er, is this the member you recruited?" "Uncle, he's not bad, right?" The 13th Prince had a smug expression. He was extremely satisfied with the black-robed person. "He's very strong, but you need to be wary of him." The expression of the powerful male kept on changing. This black-robed male was so mysterious and terrifying that he wasn't even scared of the Earth Demon cult. Why would he help Zhou Chun? The 13th Prince didn't understand what his uncle was saying. He looked coldly at Zhao Feng. "I'll kill you in this Crown Prince trial." As the battles on the other arenas continued, everyone's focus started to move away from the black-robed person. After all, everyone present was a peerless genius that had been famous for several hundred, or even 1,000 years. Every single one of them was extremely strong. On the other hand, the 9th Prince's arena was relatively quiet. No one came to challenge him. Everyone was silent. Su Qingling's soul talent made the 9th Prince's team members overjoyed. However, the black-robed person dragged them into the abyss once again. The soul intent that the black-robed person displayed completely surpassed Su Qingling's soul intent. Even someone as strong as Jing Kai felt that in front of the black-robed man, only death awaited him. Everyone, don't be fooled by the surface. Although this person's soul will is extremely powerful, the material plane is definitely his weakness. We just need to keep our distance and use long-range attacks, Olding said slowly with a deep expression. His words were like a calming pill that reduced the fear in everyone's hearts. What Olding said was indeed a way to deal with soul-type experts. Furthermore, when soul experts use secret soul arts, their flaws would be magnified, making them vulnerable to sneak attacks and assassinations. For example, when Zhao Feng used powerful eye bloodline techniques such as the soul chains and the gaze of the god eye, he couldn't do anything else, or else his eye bloodline technique would be interrupted. Just like earlier, when the black-robed man executed the profound mysteries of death to kill Tang Zhe, there was actually a process. During this time, if someone launched a sneak attack from the side, they would be able to heavily injure the black-robed man or save Tang Zhe. Therefore, teamwork was necessary during the Crown Prince trial. Suddenly, Zhao Feng revealed a smile and his divine sense turned towards the 8th Prince's arena. Chao Ling of the Chao family is challenging the genius of the Yu family, Yu Tianhao. Battle intent surged in the eyes of a tall middle-aged male as he looked at the handsome youth sitting with his eyes closed. Yu Tianhao's about to come out. The Chao family only has one spot for the 8th Prince, but the Yu family has 2. There will definitely be a fight. Yu Tianhao has the unparalleled heaven battling bloodline, so it's reasonable for the Yu family to have 2 spots. Could it be the unparalleled heaven battling bloodline? Discussion broke out in the sky. There were only rumors about Yu Tianhao having the unparalleled heaven battling bloodline. No one had actually seen it. Therefore, in everyone's eyes, Yu Tianhao's spot was easier to fight over than the other members. After all, Yu Tianhao was too young. However, due to the Yu family's reputation, no one dared to fight over it. Although the Chao family had declined slightly, they were still one of the 8 big families, so they definitely had the right to fight over it. Yu Tianhao suddenly stood up and opened his bright eyes. A surge of battle intent shot out of them. Everyone around the arena felt a surge of battle intent shoot into the sky. The battle intent in their bodies seemed to have been awakened. Chao Ling smiled in satisfaction. It looked like Yu Tianhao wasn't someone who relied on his family's power. Thump! Chao Ling suddenly stomped on the ground with one foot, and his entire body soared into the air. He turned into a black blur and charged forward with a storm-like aura. Unparalleled in the world. A powerful mental energy intent appeared from Yu Tianhao's body as he attacked out of nowhere. An unparalleled and magnificent palm light shot out from Yu Tianhao's palm, like a mysterious aurora that traversed the four directions. Rising Wind Fist. In the next instant, Chao Ling's domineering black fist collided with it. Boom. The two of them both took several steps back and stabilized themselves. Whoosh. Chao Ling's figure turned into a black blur once again as he appeared above Yu Tianhao and stomped down with his leg. Mountain-covering leg. Countless intents and the pressure of heaven and earth appeared on Chao Ling's leg, making it hard for everyone to breathe. They immediately circulated their true yuan to protect themselves. Unparalleled in the world. Yu Tianhao's body surged with a powerful intent that could sweep through the world. Boom. A dazzling and mysterious aurora palm surrounded by traces of orange crystal light, shining with the vast power of the world yuan qi, pushed up. Everywhere it passed, an earth-shattering orange light engulfed everything. Boom. Chao Ling's attack was shattered, but Chao Ling's figure was nowhere to be seen. Sky-splitting palm. Like lightning, Chao Ling had already appeared on Yu Tianhao's left. A domineering and sharp palm wind swept out, blowing away all the dust in the surroundings. As expected of the Chao family, their actions are like thunder and their attacks are like mountains. I heard that the lowest requirement to become a core disciple of the Chao family is to train 10 mid-grade Earth-class battle skills to the peak. The Chao family can be said to be a close combat family, and they also train their body. Everyone was full of praise for Chao Ling's powerful martial intent and thunderous attacks. Golden blazing finger. Mixed origin sky opening palm. Chao Ling's close combat skills were endless. As expected of one of the 8 big families. If they don't bring out their true strength, they won't be able to win. Yu Tianhao's eyes twinkled as a certain bloodline within his body started to burn. Wu, a layer of ancient and mysterious cold and faint shadow, took the shape of a human, and overlapped with Yu Tianhao's body. The orange light around Yu Tianhao's body suddenly released a blinding light, and a mental energy battle intent shot into the sky. Yu Tianhao's actions and the cold figure behind him seemed to be one. Each of his actions contained a battle intent that could make gods and ghosts cry, and he destroyed all the power around him. Chao Ling felt as if a god was looking down on him, and all the power in his body was suppressed. Some of the kings and emperors present felt as if they were struck by lightning, and they immediately circulated their true yuan to defend. On the stage, a spatial barrier clashed fiercely with the divine light of will. An old sacred lord of the Yu family instantly released his battle power, and formed another barrier around the arena to protect everyone. At the same time, he looked at the cold figure behind Yu Tianhao with a faint smile, and his blood boiled. Oh my god, it really is the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline. Apparently this bloodline can be ranked in the top 10 Imperial Dao bloodlines. What strong battle intent. I probably won't even be able to stand in front of him. The hearts of countless experts in the clouds shook. They were 1,000 miles away, but they could still feel a strong surge of battle intent. The expressions of Tai Hongnan, and the others from the Tai family within the 4th Prince's Hall became grim. The Tai family and the Yu family were both warring families that guarded the northwestern border, and they had constant conflicts with each other. The Yu family's heaven-battling bloodline was slightly weaker than the Blood Devil Sun bloodline. However, the rumored unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline was unparalleled and unparalleled. Even the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline was slightly weaker than it. Now, the Yu family had regained this peerless bloodline, but the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline of the Tai family was in the hands of an outsider. The faces of the forces within the 8th Prince's Hall went slightly red. The Yu family was one of the biggest forces behind the 8th Prince, and Yu Tianhao's unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline was a powerful fighting force. The 8th Prince looked at the arenas with excitement. He had only managed to convince the Yu family in the end, and with the unexpected addition of the Ji family, his overall strength had instantly skyrocketed. On the arenas, Chao Ling didn't show any weakness as he faced Yu Tianhao, whose battle intent had skyrocketed. Chao Ling stood there, and didn't show any weakness in the slightest. His entire body was instantly enveloped in a layer of the concept of the heavens and the earth. And he was barely able to resist the suppression of Yu Tianhao's will. Divine might dominating fist. Chao Ling used the invisible force of heaven and earth to move through the air and instantly close in on Yu Tianhao. He gathered limitless true yuan in his fist and punched out. Unparalleled in the world. Yu Tianhao used unparalleled in the world again. With the amplification of the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline, his power increased by several times. The cold figure behind him also thrust out a palm along with Yu Tianhao's movements. A dominating orange light shot out in every direction, shattering everything in its path and sending Chao Ling flying out of the arena. The battle was over. The battle power of such a strong bloodline shocked the hearts of all 10 arenas. Shi Yulei had a solemn expression on the 9th Prince's arena, and Jing Kai lowered his head slightly. The figure behind Yu Tianhao started to fade, and he looked toward the 9th Prince's arena with an excited and serious expression. Let's fight again in the Crown Prince trial. Many gazes instantly looked toward the 9th Prince's arena. Who was it that made the owner of the unparalleled heaven-battling bloodline of the Yu family personally declare war? Did the 9th Prince's side have a battle power comparable to this person? The members of the 9th Prince's side were stunned, and they looked at each other in confusion. Who was Yu Tianhao declaring war against? It wasn't a good thing to be targeted by someone with such terrifying battle power, like Yu Tianhao, for no reason. Shi Yulei and Jing Kai immediately shook their heads, indicating that they had never seen Yu Tianhao before. Boom! The exciting battle had just ended, and everyone hadn't recovered from their excitement yet. On the 13th Prince's side, Shi Peng, a genius of the older generation from 9 Darkness Palace, had already started to fight against another challenger from the Grand Duke's palace. The battle between the 2 mechanism array masters on the 12th Prince's arena had also started. The competition for the spots was extremely intense. Only a small number of members sat calmly as they watched everything. Countless forces in the surrounding halls and in the clouds could feel that the competition for the spots was about to come to an end. The 10 princes within the Great Hall couldn't help but stand up as their hearts surged. Jing Kai, who was next to Zhao Feng, instantly felt his entire body go numb. He looked at Zhao Feng, but he didn't find anything strange. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile and was secretly overjoyed. I didn't expect the power of ancient lightning to be able to merge into the God Tribulation lightning soul body. Looks like my soul should be called the lightning soul body. Chapter 933. Originally, Zhao Feng's soul only contained the power of God Tribulation lightning. Zhao Feng only tried it once, but he didn't expect it to succeed. The power of ancient lightning within the charred black wood was absorbed by his soul. However, the power of ancient lightning didn't coexist with the power of God Tribulation lightning. Instead, it merged into his soul. It was as if Zhao Feng's soul could become more condensed after absorbing the power of ancient lightning. At the same time, the power of God Tribulation lightning also became slightly stronger. Zhao Feng instantly felt his soul become more condensed, as if an ancient aura had merged into it. Zhao Feng then turned his attention to the fights on the 10 arenas. He managed to merge 2 extreme powers together? Zhao Feng was slightly surprised as he looked at Luo Zun's battle on the 8th Prince's arena. Luo Zun had already completed his little world, and it was extremely unique. The bottom part of the little world was ice, and the top part was fire. The two didn't affect each other. Luo Zun had already surpassed most older emperors to be able to do this. From the looks of it, Luo Zun had obtained a lot from the spiritual connection mouse. On the other side, on the 7th Prince's arena, the Jade-Faced Scholar used a mysterious array to trap another array master and obtain victory. The fight for the spots is about to end. Now I'll talk about the Crown Prince trial. Old Ying's voice suddenly sounded, and everyone's gazes shifted from the other arenas. Everyone knew that Old Ying had a lot of information regarding the imperial tombs and the fight for Crown Prince. Firstly, Draconic Providence is the key to the Crown Prince trial, and it's also the deciding factor. All of you should know this. Everyone knew that the ruler of a Lord dynasty could gather all the providence within their territory and use it to stabilize their position. Of course, Those who accepted the imperial title would also be able to obtain a portion of providence. However, normal people could only use a portion of the power of providence. The power of providence would become draconic providence in the hands of the imperial bloodline, and it would have many methods and limitless power. Before the death of the imperial family overlord, he brought his draconic luck into the alternate space. After thousands of years of accumulation, that alternate space has evolved into a space of draconic chi. Old Ying's eyes were filled with respect as he slowly spoke. Apart from Shi Yulei and Shinjizi, everyone else was shocked. They didn't expect the Great Gan dynasty to have ruled for so long. Moreover, everyone was looking forward to the space filled with dragon pattern chi. We're here to support the 9th prince. As long as our team can gather enough dragon mark energy, the 9th prince will be able to rely on the dragon mark energy to obtain limitless power. Olding had a solemn expression as he emphasized this sentence. The 7 of them were here to assist the 9th prince. Everyone understood this point, but they just didn't have enough awareness. Most of them came here in search of fortuitous encounters and inheritances, or to make use of the primordial space to search for an opportunity to break through. At the same time, they knew what Olding was trying to say. As long as he had enough draconic light, the 9th prince would be able to strengthen himself. This meant that only the 9th prince, who was an emperor, could reach the level of a sacred lord or even higher with the help of the draconic light. Similarly, the other princes could do the same. Remember, this is the battle for Crown Prince. As long as the 9th prince successfully becomes the Crown Prince, all of you and the forces behind you will obtain limitless benefits. The rise of the 8 big families is mostly due to the Crown Prince trial. Olding had put in a lot of effort and used clever persuasion techniques to make everyone work for the 9th prince. Shi Yulei seemed to remember something about his family, and faintly nodded his head. Zhao Feng now had a slight understanding of the rules of the Crown Prince trial, and he felt that it was more like a game. One didn't even need to think to know that the team with the most draconic providence would be the winner. Could it be that our entry into the imperial tombs has something to do with providence? Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something. There was a rule in the battles for the spots. The challenger couldn't have a higher cultivation than the person who had a spot. The 9th prince only had 7 spots, and the cultivation of the members was on the low side. The 13th prince had 12 spots. The people next to him were speechless. This simple information had already spread in the outside world, but Zhao Feng didn't know about it. That's right. Entering the dimension requires one to use providence, and the higher one's cultivation is, the more providence they will use. This is the rule set by the Imperials. Olding paused for a moment and explained it to Zhao Feng. The stronger the force behind the prince, the stronger their providence would be. This meant that they would be able to bring more people with them, and the cultivation of these people would be higher as well. The force behind the 9th prince was extremely weak. Therefore, there wouldn't be too many spots, and only Olding and Shi Yulei were quasi-sacred lords, which meant that they were half-step sacred lords. Almost all of the top 5 princes had sacred lords in their teams. Negotiation and recruitment are also tests for the princes. Olding sighed helplessly. Although this was what he said, the strength of the force behind the prince was mostly due to their background and relationships. The 9th prince's birth wasn't very good, and the sacred emperor didn't have a high opinion of him, so the force behind him wasn't very strong. There's still some other things. Let's go in first. In the end, Olding only explained some simple things to those who didn't know the rules. For example, Zhao Feng and Zhou Su finally had a certain understanding of the Crown Prince trial. Everyone else instantly rolled their eyes. What were these 2 planning to do by participating in the Crown Prince trial? They didn't even know the basic rules. The fights for the spots have ended. Su Qingling faintly said. At this moment, the 10 princes walked out of the hall. Because of what Olding just said, everyone felt their hearts become heavy. Zhao Feng also felt that he had unknowingly been dragged into the fight for the Lord Dynasty. However, if the 9th prince really did win, it would be very beneficial for his force, the Ocean Smoke Pavilion. Now that the fights for the spots had ended, only 2 or 3 of the top-ranked princes' teams had changed. The ones that changed the most were the princes at the bottom of the rankings. They didn't have any thoughts of fighting for the position of crown prince, so they casually chose their members. The 9th prince was ranked 7th, but he was an exception. Only Olding knew that the 9th prince had been preparing for a long time, and had been working very hard until now. Although his overall strength was still very weak, he still picked out the most elite members from the weaker forces, and personally went to various places to convince the stronger ones. For example, the 9th prince went to the ocean 4 years ago to recruit Zhao Feng. Boom. A large amount of invisible draconic providence suddenly started to move across the imperial palace, and the wind started to change. Everyone present could only feel a boundless, terrifying power controlling everything, including their lives. Welcome to the Crown Prince trial. Now that the fights for the spots have ended, the trial is about to begin. A majestic male wearing a golden robe in front of the imperial palace was surrounded by draconic light. His simple words reverberated across heaven and earth through the draconic light in the imperial palace. Next to the Saint Emperor was a stunningly beautiful woman. She wore a golden jade crown and a colorful phoenix robe, and accompanied him. In the main hall, a few obscure supreme auras were faintly discernible. Wang, an ancient gray-white stone disc suddenly flew out from the hall. It gave off a golden jade light as it flew above the martial arts field. The golden jade light then slowly landed around the stone disc. It landed in front of everyone on the arena. When this ball of golden jade light landed in Zhao Feng's hand, it turned into a dark gray dragon-shaped jade pendant. The members next to him also had the same jade pendant. The 10 princes on the martial arts field each held a jade seal that gave off a faint white golden light, and flashed with draconic light. This is the dragon jade. The draconic providence will automatically be stored inside. The one in the prince's hand is the pseudo-crown prince seal. Only one pseudo-seal can transform into the crown prince seal. Olding knew that some people in the group didn't know anything, so he explained. The dragon jades in our hands are connected to the pseudo-crown prince seal in the prince's hands. Wang, the stone disc floating in the air, started to spin. Limitless draconic providence started to gather from the entire Lord dynasty. Many mysterious and cryptic runes started to light up on the stone disc, and an ancient and desolate aura started to radiate from it. The trial has begun. A voice sounded in the main hall. It didn't rely on draconic providence, but it spread across the entire imperial palace. Instantly, a dark silver light shot out from the center of the stone disc, and a terrifying spatial disturbance started to spread. Countless strands of draconic providence were sucked into the stone disc. This dark silver light suddenly tore apart, forming a chaotic and distorted light screen. Let's go! The 4th prince and the other members of the group leapt up. Xian Yuan 1 and another sacred lord from Sky Suspension Palace were extremely fast. They flashed as they entered the screen. Mother, I will become the crown prince. The 13th prince looked at the female in front of the hall in the distance, and charged toward the screen of light. Go in. The 9th prince immediately charged toward the chaotic screen of light. The other princes also leapt into the air. At the same time, the members of the group on the arena leapt into the screen of light. Elder Hongnan, I will defeat the so-called perfect blood devil sun bloodline. The red-haired man with cold eyes from the Tai family turned into a ball of flame, flashed past everyone, and charged into the light screen. Zhao Feng followed everyone, and flew toward the screen of light. However, suddenly, a dark aura of death appeared next to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng paused for a moment, and his expression changed slightly. He didn't use a secret technique to enter first. Instead, he followed the others. He didn't expect someone to cut the line and charge toward Zhao Feng, as if they wanted to enter first. Furthermore, this aura made Zhao Feng feel disgusted. It reminded him of the Emperor of Death from back then. Others might be scared of the black-robed person, but Zhao Feng wasn't. Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body, and punched to the side with limitless lightning. If the black-robed person wanted to cut the line, he would have to take Zhao Feng's punch. Being an expert that specialized in the soul, his physical defense shouldn't be very strong. He believed that the black-robed person would retreat. The black-robed person didn't seem to see anything and continued to attack. This person. Zhao Feng's expression became grim. The black-robed person gave others the feeling that he wanted to cut the line. But there was a faint soul undulation within the black robe. A vague soul-profound aura of death rushed toward Nietian. Chapter 934. The black-robed person acted as if he didn't see anything and continued to charge toward Zhao Feng. This person. Zhao Feng's expression became grim. The feeling this black-robed person gave others was that he was going to cut in line, but there was a faint soul undulation within the black robe. A vague soul-profound aura of death rushed toward Nietian. Boom. Zhao Feng's fist landed on the black-robed person's right arm, and the black-robed person's soul attack also attacked Zhao Feng's soul. The power of God tribulation lightning instantly flashed in Zhao Feng's dark purple soul, and the intent of death that was about to invade his soul was shattered by the lightning. At the same time, Zhao Feng's fist shattered the black-robed person's right arm. The black robe in front of his right arm was ripped apart, revealing a skinny arm. His arm was wrapped in bandages, and there were countless black runes imprinted on the bandages. They were cryptic and profound. Zhao Feng took the black-robed person's soul attack head-on. The black-robed person didn't even try to block Zhao Feng's physical attack. Zhao Feng snickered coldly and stepped into the screen. Crippling an arm would teach the black-robed person a lesson. However, what happened next caused the eyes of everyone who hadn't entered the imperial tombs to bulge out. The black-robed person's arm slowly recovered, and he could move it as he pleased. The black robe that had been ripped apart also turned back into a complete black robe that covered his arm. Zhao Feng, who had entered the screen, was only able to see a small part of what happened. See, this black-robed person is so weird. What secret technique is that? His recovery speed is even stronger than the sacred body of a mystic light realm sacred lord. Idiot, this isn't recovery. Have you ever seen clothes that can automatically recover after being ripped apart? The black-robed person's death soul attack didn't even do any damage to Zhao Feng. At this moment in time, the small number of people who hadn't entered the imperial tombs yet were stunned. The black-robed person's weirdness and terror made everyone retreat and not dare to get close. Zhao Feng couldn't be underestimated, and took the black-robed person's soul attack head-on. One had to know that Tang Zhe, who was a quasi-sacred lord, was instantly killed by the black-robed person's soul attack without being able to resist at all. Zhou Suer was also in the crowd. As a doctor, she was not in a hurry, so she naturally moved very slowly. She was the last member of the 9th Prince's team, and she also saw this scene. Brother Black Robe, please. Senior Black Robe, please enter first. Some of the experts who were about to enter the light screen immediately retreated and smiled flatteringly. Their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Zhao Feng. The black-robed man let out a bone-chilling, hoarse voice before entering the light screen. Many forces in the 4 great halls below also witnessed the battle between the black-robed man and Zhao Feng. At the same time, he felt that it was inconceivable. Only a few sects and families with deep foundations could vaguely guess something. The elder of the Earth Demon cult suddenly thought of something, and his expression darkened before he sighed. Whoosh! Zhao Feng appeared in an ancient forest. He felt his body and soul sinking slightly. An ancient and boundless pressure covered heaven and earth. This was an aura that had been through the ancient era and the ancient era. Zhao Feng had the feeling that he had entered the ancient dream realm. However, Zhao Feng's body and soul had merged with the aura of the ancient dream realm, so the majority of this pressure disappeared when it landed on Zhao Feng's body. It was as if Zhao Feng had received the recognition of this place. The pressure here was much weaker than in the ancient dream realm. It only affected Zhao Feng a little bit. Around him, the 9th Prince and the other members were here as well. What a strong spatial pressure. Zhou Suer followed Zhao Feng's footsteps and arrived. Her face instantly went red, and she found it hard to breathe. Get used to it. The dragon jade will absorb a small amount of draconic providence in the air. At the same time, it will use the draconic providence to reduce the pressure and restrictions the ancient dimension has on you. Olding explained. At the same time, he looked at Zhao Feng with one eye and paused for a moment. Zhao Feng didn't seem to feel any discomfort in this place. He was extremely relaxed, as if he was extremely compatible with this ancient dimension. What was going on? Even though he was an expert that specialized in body strengthening and had strong resistance to pressure, the ancient dimension's pressure wasn't simple. It also rejected foreign beings and was restricted by the laws of heaven and earth. Those with low cultivations might not even be able to move and be crushed to the ground. Everyone else also realized that Zhao Feng's situation was different. Even though Shi Yulei was an expert that specialized in body strengthening, he still felt that the air was extremely heavy, and his body was suppressed. Now that everyone is here, listen to me. Our dragon jades are connected to the 9th prince's pseudo-seal, so we'll be teleported together even though the order of entry is different. Olding started to speak faster. It was obvious that time was of the essence. The dragon jades and pseudo-crown prince seals can absorb a small amount of draconic providence in the air, but it's also because of this that the efficiency of us gathering draconic providence together will be very low. Olding picked up the dragon jade in his hand. The jade was dim. It was obvious that all the draconic providence nearby had been sucked dry. The 9th prince's pseudo-crown prince seal, which was originally bright and clear, only had a faint glow now. When the team members entered the imperial tombs, they used up an amount of luck equivalent to the pseudo-seal. Therefore, we have to split up, Olding said in a solemn tone. Everyone guessed that this would be the result. Everyone felt the importance of draconic providence after entering the imperial tombs. Without draconic providence to resist the pressure of the ancient dimension, they would be blocked, and their battle power would decrease. Under the pressure of the ancient dimension, they couldn't even fly. Only sacred lords would barely be able to fly. However, if they had enough draconic providence, they would be able to resist the pressure of the ancient dimension and fly in the air. We have 8 people, so we should split into 3 groups. Shinjizi, Zhaofeng, and I will each lead 1 or 2 people. Who do you want to follow? Old Ying's eyes scanned over everyone as he told them the plan. Su Qingling, Jingkai and Shi Yulei paused. They didn't think that Old Ying and Shinjizi would lead a group. Old Ying and Shinjizi were both experienced seniors. Old Ying specialized in tracking and avoiding danger, while Shinjizi could predict danger and fortune. Why was Zhaofeng the leader? Was it because he was a beast tamer and needed protection? I'll follow Old Ying. Jingkai immediately stood next to Old Ying. After witnessing the fight for the spots, Jingkai felt that his strength was only average amongst the members that were fighting. Old Ying had reached the quasi-sacred lord level and was very experienced. Safety was number 1 if he followed him, and he could learn other things. The others looked over and saw that the 9th prince was already standing next to Old Ying. This meant that Old Ying's group now had 3 people. I'll follow Shinjizi, Shi Yulei and Su Qingling said at the same time as they walked next to Shinjizi. I don't need a doctor, Zhaofeng immediately said. Right now, only Zhou Su'er was left in the group. Zhou Su'er was useless to Zhaofeng. Zhaofeng's body was very strong, and he had the water of wind lightning, the wood of wind lightning, and other healing true yuan. He also had the green water sky lotus, the 100 origin honey, and other healing sacred medicines. What did he need a doctor for? Anyone in the group was more useful to Zhaofeng than Zhou Su'er. You. Zhou Su'er's face instantly puffed up as a layer of red appeared. Before entering the screen of light, she had seen Zhaofeng fight with the black-robed person, and she was confident in Zhaofeng's strength. Therefore, she felt that it was fine to partner with Zhaofeng. However, she didn't expect Zhaofeng to reject her so decisively. All of you can leave. I'm going to follow Zhaofeng today. Zhou Su'er's bright voice sounded. Just because Zhaofeng didn't want a doctor. She had been rejected by Zhaofeng, so if she followed Zhaofeng's words, she would lose even more face. However, Zhou Su'er didn't let Zhaofeng do what he wanted. She walked next to Zhaofeng and acted as if she was going to follow him. The others in the group looked at Zhaofeng and Zhou Su'er and felt slightly embarrassed. Although they didn't have a good impression of Zhaofeng, they didn't like him. However, it wasn't suitable for a beast tamer and a doctor to be together since they had low battle power. The beasts in the imperial tombs all had ancient auras and draconic providence, so they were extremely fierce. Just as they were hesitating, Old Ying suddenly said, "If that's the case, then let's go. This is a map of the imperial tombs and information about the trial." Old Ying gave each of them a book. "And let's go." Shinjizi gave a faint smile as he took the book and got ready to go. Shi Yulei, Su Qingling, and Jing Kai's expressions froze. Old Ing and Shinjizi, who were very experienced, seemed to agree. What was going on? Weren't Old Ing and Shinjizi worried that the beast tamer and doctor would die here? However, since the two seniors didn't have any objections, they didn't say anything. They took the book and memorized the information. Old Ing and Shinjizi each took 2 people and left. Before they left, the 9th prince looked at Zhao Feng. Brother Zhao, with how you dominated the divine illusion dimension back then, the imperial tombs shouldn't be hard. You can definitely protect Sister Su. Zhao Feng rolled his eyes and started to think. Old Ing and Shinjizi had probably discussed this a long time ago, and decided to give the doctor to him first. Zhao Feng roughly understood after glancing over the information in the book. The doctor's usefulness would only be shown later on. Right now he was just a burden. There was a lot of information in the book, including which areas had dangerous beasts and inheritances that hadn't been conquered before. However, right now, Zhao Feng needed to confirm his location. Tung. Zhao Feng's figure leapt up and landed on top of a nearby tree. Zhao Feng leapt up several yards and floated in the air. He opened his god's spiritual eye and looked at the situation within several dozen thousand miles. Zhao Feng even saw other figures around 10,000 miles away. Zhou Sua looked at Zhao Feng, who was floating in the air in a daze. You can fly, Zhou Sua said in shock. Her dragon jade hadn't absorbed any draconic providence yet, so it couldn't block the pressure. Even walking was tiring. On the other hand, Zhao Feng seemed to be in the same dimension as before. He jumped around and even floated in the air for a short while. How did Zhao Feng do this without any draconic providence? Zhao Feng didn't reply to Zhou Sua. He waved his left hand, and an ancient Yao bird appeared and flew into the distance. This Yao bird was the Yao spirit that had helped Zhao Feng protect the ancient Dream Realm fruit in the ancient Dream Realm, and it was now a late-stage king. It was a Yao spirit from the ancient Dream Realm. After entering the imperial tombs, it wasn't affected by the laws of heaven and earth at all, and its flying speed was even faster. The ancient and desolate aura radiating from its body created a terrifying force. Everywhere it passed, the nearby flying beasts would scatter. Chapter 935. After confirming his current position and understanding the possible dangers in the surroundings, Zhao Feng descended. We're currently at the edge of the imperial tombs, so it's less dangerous. The closest place is the inheritance of Sacred Lord Dark Sky. Zhao Feng combined the information from the map in his mind. Logically speaking, inheritances closer to the edge should be of a lower rank. However, their goal wasn't just the inheritance. There was also draconic providence. The inheritance contained the draconic providence of an imperial sacred lord. If they could completely conquer the inheritance, they would be able to obtain all the draconic providence of the person who set up the inheritance. However, what Zhao Feng wanted was the resources and items left behind by the imperial experts. Let's go to Sacred Lord Dark Sky's inheritance first. After saying that, Zhao Feng started to walk forward quickly. Zhou Su still needed to remember the map in her mind and find the Dark Sky inheritance. Hey, wait for me. Zhou Su was starting to regret it. Zhao Feng continued to fly forward without any problems. However, she felt as if she was going against the flow of a raging storm. The ancient and primitive aura around her kept bombarding her. She couldn't keep up with Zhao Feng at all. Hearing that, Zhao Feng turned around and looked. Zhou Su was the princess of the imperial family, so she definitely hadn't gone through much hardship during her cultivation. Adding on the fact that she was a doctor, her body was much weaker than normal emperors. Zhao Feng waved his left hand and released the green-spotted python. This was something that Zhao Feng had prepared a long time ago. He had placed the 2 living beings from the ancient dream realm into the misty spatial world. Sit on it, Zhao Feng said. Zhou Su's expression changed. Although this green-spotted python only had the cultivation of a late-stage king, the fierce aura it radiated made even her heart jump. Although this python was too fierce, Zhou Su could only sit on it. Zhou Su could only sit on it. The instant she sat on the green-spotted python, Zhou Su suddenly felt the pressure around her decrease. She couldn't help but feel that it was extremely magical. The green-spotted python was extremely fast, so Josua had an easy ride. It seemed that partnering with a beast tamer was not a bad idea. Zhao Feng, do you have any other mounts? Give me another one. Josua began to push her luck. The green-spotted python was extremely fast in this place. Even faster than Zhao Feng, who was leaping on foot. Soon the two of them entered the vast forest. Zhao Feng found that there were ordinary fruits on many trees here. Zhao Feng casually plucked a few and observed them with his left eye. He discovered that the effects of these fruits were far inferior to those of the dream realm. It only had about 1% of the effect of the dreamland fruit. Come eat a few. Zhao Feng threw a few fruits to Josua. Even though the fruit's effects weren't great, and contained very little primordial aura, it was mottled and impure. However, it could still increase Josua's resistance. At this moment, Josua's jade pendant was shining brightly. He must have absorbed the draconic providence in the air as he walked. Zhao Feng, isn't our route a little off? Josua wasn't someone who didn't want to think, so she immediately asked. That's right, it's a little off. Zhao Feng didn't deny it. Why? Josua was puzzled. Why would they deviate from their destination for no reason? We're going to rob them. Zhao Feng revealed a wicked smile. Suddenly, 3 figures jumped out and met Zhao Feng and Josua. Zhao Feng had a faint smile, but Josua paused for a moment. These 3 were wary at first, but they let out a breath when they saw that it was Josua and Zhao Feng. So it's a member of the 9th Prince's team. The nervous expression of a middle-aged male wearing a yellow coat calmed down. The 6th prince they supported was ranked 8th, the same as the 9th prince. They were only scared of the members of the top 5 princes. Isn't this Grandmaster Beast Tamer Zhao Feng and your team's doctor? Why did the 9th prince make you 2 team up? One of the younger geniuses walked in front of Zhao Feng and Josua with a smug expression and a hint of greed in his eyes. The 6th prince had no intention of becoming the crown prince, so his team members were all battle-type members. They only entered the imperial tombs to find inheritances and fortune. Therefore, all 3 of them were experts that specialized in fighting. When the yellow-clothed man heard his companion's words, he immediately understood what he meant. Hand over some treasures and the draconic providence in your dragon jades, and you can leave. The male in yellow roared. An elder in black immediately messaged his 2 partners. This Zhao Feng isn't easy to deal with, and Josua was once an imperial princess. Let's go straight to the dark sky inheritance. The elder in black had entered the imperial tombs relatively late, so he had witnessed the fight between Zhao Feng and the black-robed person. He was slightly scared of Zhao Feng. However, the middle-aged male in yellow and the other youth revealed mocking smiles. No matter how strong Zhao Feng was, he was only a beast tamer, and Josua was a grandmaster doctor. Her battle power was almost negligible. They were only extorting and didn't do anything else, so they didn't need to be scared of Josua's background. Josua glanced at Zhao Feng with resentment in her eyes. He knew there was danger, but he still came here. Although the other 3 were all emperors, their true strength was at least that of an unrivaled emperor. You're just an emperor, and you want to rob 3 emperors. However, Josua became slightly more confident when she thought about how Zhao Feng might take out his spiritual pets. You're mistaken. I'm the robber. Hand over all your resources, including the dragon jades. Zhao Feng snickered coldly. Hearing Zhao Feng's words, the young prodigy and the yellow-clothed man paused. They then started to laugh. Ha ha. He was just a beast tamer, but he dared to say something like that? Rob the 3 of them? They had heard that Zhao Feng had extremely powerful pets. However, as long as they avoided the pets and controlled the master, the pets wouldn't be much of a threat. The expression of the old man in black changed, and his eyes were filled with anxiety. If you're not willing to hand over your treasures, then you can only waste the only chance to save your lives in the dragon jades. The young genius harumphed coldly. He was unhappy. Every piece of dragon jade contained a concealment formation that could help its members escape danger once. After using it, the user would be teleported to the prince. This meant that after Zhao Feng activated the hidden array in the dragon jade, he would be teleported to the 9th prince's side directly. Therefore, the death rate in the imperial tombs was relatively low. Even if a member was trapped in a dangerous place or an inheritance, they could use this method to teleport to the prince's side. But it could only be used once. Attack! The male in yellow's eyes were cold as a long saber with golden dragon patterns appeared in his hand. If they weren't willing to hand over their treasures, then he would force them to use the life-saving array in their dragon jades. The young genius instantly circulated his true yuan. The old man in black had no choice but to take action. He hoped that the three of them working together would be able to defeat Zhao Feng. The three emperors unleashed their full power. However, the magnificent power they formed was only 100 yards wide, and the undulations of true yuan were extremely weak. Everyone's strength was suppressed by the imperial tombs. At the beginning, they could only use 1/20th of their battle power. Illusion Maze Domain. Zhao Feng punched out, and the minds of the three emperors shook as they fell into a misty ancient city. They lost control of their bodies and consciousness. At the same time, Zhao Feng's powerful physical attack made the three emperors spit out blood. Soul chains. A strong surge of eye intent started to form in Zhao Feng's left eye. A faint purple soul power appeared in his soul, and merged into his left eye. Transparent crystalline chains of dark purple lightning passed through the soul dimension, and wrapped around the bodies of the three martial monarchs. The three emperors' souls couldn't move under the restraints of the soul chains. Don't! The old man in black still had a sliver of resistance, and was about to use a secret technique. The power of God Tribulation Lightning instantly appeared on the purple chains of lightning. The three emperors howled as they slowly lost consciousness. Plop! The three emperors fell to the ground at the same time. Zhao Feng's soul intent had reached the level of a sacred lord. When he used a secret technique, he could even injure sacred lords. The three emperors could only use a portion of their strength, due to the suppression of the imperial tombs. Therefore, they couldn't fight back at all against Zhao Feng's secret technique. Zhou Su was dazed as she sat on the green-spotted python. She originally thought that Zhao Feng would let out his pets to fight. She didn't expect that he would be able to defeat three peerless emperors with just one punch and one glance. No wonder Olding and the ninth prince made Zhao Feng their leader. Not only was Zhao Feng a grandmaster beast tamer, his personal strength was also unbelievably strong. Zhou Su became even more certain after seeing the fight between Zhao Feng and the black-robed person. Zhao Feng's true strength was at least on par with the black-robed person. Zhao Feng didn't kill them, he only made them lose consciousness. Zhao Feng then walked forward and started to search through their interspatial dimensions. The three of them were peerless experts from big forces, so they obviously had many treasures. What do you want their dragon jades for? Zhou Su couldn't help but be curious when she saw Zhao Feng take their dragon jades as well. The concealment array on the dragon jades could only teleport one to a prince. This meant that if Zhao Feng activated the array, he would only be teleported to the sixth prince. One dragon jade might not be able to store enough draconic providence. Zhao Feng replied. There was a limit to how much draconic providence a dragon jade could store. But throughout history, very few people had reached the storage limit of the dragon jade. This was because one had to continuously use draconic providence to counteract the spatial pressure in the ancient dimension, and a large amount of draconic providence would be wasted in battle in order to unleash more battle power. Also, the sixth prince can be robbed as well. Zhao Feng thought for a moment and said. Although Zhao Feng's first sentence was arrogant, it made sense. However, this sentence almost made Zhou Su fall off the green-spotted python. You want to rob a prince? Zhou Su asked in disbelief. One had to know that the princes would definitely be protected by the strongest members of their group. Furthermore, the princes could use draconic providence to increase their strength. Not at the moment. Compared to draconic providence, Zhao Feng cared more about resources. The resources within the inheritance of a sacred lord were definitely more abundant than the resources of a normal emperor. Furthermore, the sacred lords buried here were all imperials. The duo quickly left after taking everything. A while later, the three emperors stood up from the ground with difficulty. What's going on? How is he so strong? The young geniuses were stunned. He defeated the three of us with just one punch and one soul technique. The male in yellow couldn't believe it. Such a strong Grandmaster Beast Tamer was terrifying. Didn't you notice? Zhao Feng's soul attacks are extremely strong and aren't suppressed by the Imperial tombs at all. The Elder in Black took a deep breath. The other two were instantly dazed. How was this possible? However, thinking back, what the Elder in Black said was true. Zhao Feng's soul intent wasn't suppressed by the Imperial tombs, and he defeated them with absolute superiority. Chapter 936. Zhao Feng, this ancient dimension doesn't suppress you? Zhou Su'er was already suspicious, and she was even more certain after the battle just now. She had once felt Zhao Feng's soul intent in the Saint Herb Pavilion, and it was almost the same as before. It's suppressed to a certain extent, Zhao Feng said. No matter what, the Imperial tombs were a broken dimension left behind by the ancient era. Even though Zhao Feng had the ancient aura, he wasn't an ancient life form. It was just that his resistance to this place was extremely strong. Zhao Feng could only use half of his strength in the laws of heaven and earth of the Imperial tombs. The other emperors that had just entered could only use 1/20th of their battle power at the start. They needed some time to adapt to this ancient heaven and earth, and their strength would only become stronger. The higher one's cultivation was, the faster they would adapt. Therefore, Zhao Feng was almost invincible in the Imperial tombs. We're here. The Dark Heaven Inheritance. Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er stopped in their tracks. There was a stone staircase not far away, and there were traces of people from a long time ago. The draconic providence in the air suddenly became denser when it reached this place. The Dragon Jade suction force on the draconic providence instantly became stronger. The Dark Heaven Inheritance. This was an inheritance that had been discovered a long time ago. Although it was a low-tier inheritance, no one had conquered it until now. Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er directly entered. Zhou Su'er could now easily walk through this place. The fruit in the Imperial tombs and the ancient aura of the green-spotted python allowed Zhou Su'er to have a certain resistance to this place. This allowed Zhou Su'er to develop a certain resistance to this place in a very short period of time. Zhao Feng knew that everything around him was a mix of illusion and reality. The two of them were in the little world inheritance that the sacred leader had set up before his death. The two of them were in the little world inheritance that the sacred leader had set up before his death. Everything in front of them became bright and dark. Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er arrived in a dark dimension. There were 4 giant statues in the dimension that suddenly opened their eyes and released the aura of an emperor. This is only the beginning, and I have to face 4 martial monarchs. There seems to be a special formation on the ground. Zhao Feng looked around with his left eye and saw through everything. For emperor-level stone statues were indeed difficult for the experts who had just entered, and could only use 1/20th of their strength. No wonder Olding had given him a map. There were more inheritances at the edge of the Imperial tombs, and the closer to the center, the fewer inheritances there were. Firstly, the inheritances that were closer to the center were of a higher level, so they were much rarer. Secondly, when the members got closer to the center, they would slowly adapt to the environment, and they would be able to display greater strength. In fact, if they worked together with other teams, it would be easier for them to conquer the inheritance. Zhao Feng, this inheritance still has some difficulty. Are you confident that you can pass it? Zhou Su'er was confused. She still did not know much about Zhao Feng's true strength. Passed. I don't have much confidence. Zhao Feng was right. Zhou Su'er nodded. It was indeed difficult to do it alone. If she could help, she might be able to succeed. But what Zhao Feng said next made her fall into a daze again. But I'm confident that I can destroy it. Excitement flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. Boom, boom, boom. The 4 stone statues walked over in a weird manner, and the ground started to tremble. Whoosh. Zhao Feng flew into the air. It's time to try out my little world. Zhao Feng smiled. Zhao Feng instantly circulated his intent, and a terrifying power spread through heaven and earth, causing the air nearby to become chaotic. Boom. A dark space where wind and lightning wreaked havoc began to appear in the void. One had to know that the little world of a sacred lord wasn't a true dimension. If another little world appeared, it would be impossible for it to exist. The two sides would definitely try to fight for territory in the air. Boom, boom. Explosions sounded in the air, and the ground started to crack. Zhao Feng's little world was formed in the ancient dream realm. To a certain degree, it could be considered a product of the ancient dream realm. Therefore, the little world of wind lightning wasn't suppressed in the imperial tombs. Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body, and furiously transferred the wind lightning true yuan within the crystal core dimension into his little world. The power of the two little worlds started to clash in the air. Sacred lightning dominating fist. Zhao Feng flew into the air and unleashed several giant fists of golden lightning toward the little world. Crack! Under the combined attacks of Zhao Feng's little world of wind lightning and his lightning fist, a giant crack appeared in the air and started to spread. Boom! 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 The dark little world instantly shattered, and a powerful storm of sacred power swept across the ground. However, Zhao Feng's little world instantly overlapped with the air and controlled the laws of intents. All the damage from the explosion was blocked outside of Zhao Feng's little world. The power isn't bad. Zhao Feng was very satisfied. Sacred Lord Dark Sky's little world had been around for too long, and its foundation was extremely weak. Without intent to control it, it was like a dead object. However, even then, it was still a little world created by a sacred lord for almost 10,000 years, and it was much more stable than the little world of a normal sacred lord. Zhou Su'er stood dazedly within Zhao Feng's little world. Wind blew across heaven and earth, thunder boomed, and lightning flashed on the ground. This was Zhao Feng's little world? Because of Zhao Feng's intent, she wasn't affected by the little world. However, Zhou Su'er could clearly feel how terrifying Zhao Feng's little world was. This definitely wasn't a little world that a normal emperor should have. Above the Dark Sky Inheritance. 11th Prince, we're about to reach the Dark Sky Inheritance. An elder in gray had an excited expression. Sure, it'll be up to you then. The 11th Prince, who was wearing golden robes, sped up. 11th Prince, don't worry. This is the experience of the seniors of the Heaven Azura sect from the last Crown Prince trial. The Heaven Azura sect has already researched this inheritance, and I'm 80% confident that I can break through it. The elder in gray had a proud expression. There was also a quasi-sacred lord expert with him. The 11th Prince was ranked second to last in terms of overall strength. He had no intention of fighting for the position of Crown Prince. He just wanted to follow the other members and search for inheritances in the outer edges. 11th Prince, we're here. The elder in gray's eyes were filled with joy. The Dark Sky Inheritance was still here, and it hadn't been broken through. However, suddenly, boom, boom. The entire ground cracked apart as a terrifying Saint Energy Soul Storm exploded with a domineering aura of the heavens and earth. Following that, a terrifying power of lightning flashed out. What a terrifying aura. Run. The elder in gray screamed. Even the Dark Sky Sacred Lord's little world inheritance has been shattered. There must be a Sacred Lord level expert down there. The quasi-Sacred Lord expert following the 11th Prince was stunned. He took the 11th Prince and retreated. One had to know that almost all the princes that had a Sacred Lord level expert were in the top 5. Furthermore, everyone's strength was restricted the moment they entered, and even Sacred Lords were suppressed. Even in this situation, they were still able to unleash such power and shatter the little world inheritance. Just how strong was that person? At this moment in time, within the Great Gone Imperial Palace, the stone plate covered in weird runes was still floating in the sky, and a weird undulation of energy was radiating from it. Around the stone plate were 10 enormous white screens. The 10 princes were at the center of the screens. The 4th prince has already found a high-tier inheritance. In the clouds, an expert cried out in alarm. According to the scenery on the screens, this inheritance was at least the place where a late-stage mystic light realm cultivator had died. Very good, the black-robed person didn't go with Chun'er, and Chun'er went straight to the inheritance that I mentioned. A powerful male within the 13th prince's hall had a faint smile on his face. The 6th prince ran into a beast horde when he was wandering around. Many experts laughed in their hearts. The Crown Prince trial had been around since the beginning of the Great Gone Lord dynasty until now. The Crown Prince trial was slowly being controlled by the Grand Imperial Hall, and rumors said that the upper echelon members of the Grand Imperial Hall could even affect the imperial tombs from the outside world. The pseudo-Crown Prince seal had been modified by the Imperials and could communicate with the outside world. Therefore, everything within a certain range of the pseudo-Crown Prince seal could be seen in the outside world. However, the images were blurry. To a certain extent, giving the pseudo-Crown Prince seal this ability was to protect the prince's safety. It also allowed the forces and families waiting in the outside world to understand what was going on in the imperial tombs. The 11th prince has also found an inheritance. Someone roared. Everyone immediately looked over. However, the 11th prince's screen suddenly exploded. The place of succession suddenly exploded as countless violent gusts of chi invaded the surroundings, causing the scene to become even more blurry. The 11th prince and 2 other members immediately escaped. The experts in the clouds around the hall all took in a deep breath. What strength! They destroyed the little world of a sacred lord's inheritance. Which sacred lord was it? Could the little world have run out of energy? Impossible. They're obviously 2 different powers. I can see lightning. How savage! They destroyed the little world's test and stole the inheritance and draconic providence. This kind of strength can only belong to Sacred Lord 10,000 Lightning of Sky Suspension Palace. Everyone exclaimed. From the images, everyone had a certain understanding of the imperial tombs. The ancient dimension's pressure was extremely strong, and one's strength would be greatly suppressed the moment they entered. Under such circumstances, that mysterious expert was still able to destroy the little world of a sacred lord's inheritance. Unfortunately, the 11th prince ran away in a hurry and didn't see who it was. After Sacred Lord Darksky's little world was destroyed, below them, a mausoleum appeared before their eyes. The dragon jades on Zhao Feng and Zhou Su instantly started to absorb all the draconic providence nearby. At the same time, Zhao Feng started to search through the items left behind by Sacred Lord Dark Sky. The interspatial dimension of an imperial sacred lord is indeed different. Zhao Feng's consciousness entered Sacred Lord Dark Sky's interspatial ring and revealed a smile. There's even a rare grass from the ancient era. Zhao Feng revealed a joyful expression. Although this was a dimension left behind from the ancient era, it was still the same as the outside world. Most of the plants here were normal. After millions of years of exploration by the princes, there were very few spiritual grasses here. They only existed in some forbidden grounds. Let's go to the next inheritance, Zhao Feng immediately said after they finished searching. Zhou Su paused. She felt that everything she had experienced was completely different from what she had imagined. There were no dangers or difficulties. She didn't even need to do anything. Zhao Feng could easily take care of everything. They arrived at the ground. Zhao Feng suddenly jumped onto a tree and flew into the air as a surge of eye bloodline power spread out from his left eye. A flying beast in the air was enslaved by Zhao Feng. Chapter 937. The two headed toward the next inheritance after reaching the surface. Right now, Zhao Feng was aiming for the inheritances of beginning stage Mystic Light Realm. He could easily destroy the little world where the inheritances were set up, and collect the draconic providence, treasures and resources. 3 beginning stage Mystic Light Realm inheritances had already been destroyed by Zhao Feng. Zhou Su's dragon jade flashed with a warm light, and there was a faint outline of a dragon on it. It was obvious that it was filled with draconic providence. In this period of time, 3 other groups were robbed by Zhao Feng. They didn't even have the time to activate the array within their dragon jades before Zhao Feng suppressed them and took everything away. This meant that Zhao Feng now had 7 dragon jades. It won't be so easy to rob them now. Zhao Feng sighed. 2 days passed within the imperial tombs. Most of the members were slowly assimilating into this place, and they were able to unleash more power. It was difficult for Zhao Feng to instantly suppress them. As long as there was an opening, they would be able to use the array within their dragon jades to escape. There was no benefit in offending them. Boom. Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and teamed up with his little world of wind lightning to destroy another inheritance. In the surrounding void, The sky darkened, thunder rumbled, lightning flashed, and storms raged. We can head toward the central region now. Zhao Feng's left eye gazed into the distance and saw things that normal people couldn't see. The resources of beginning stage Mystic Light Realm's sacred lords weren't enough for Zhao Feng. Very few of them were useful to Zhao Feng. Okay, the edges are too boring. Zhou Su agreed. Zhao Feng was speechless. This guy just sat on the green-spotted python and didn't do anything. He felt that it was boring. The closer they got to the center of the imperial tombs, the more dangerous it became, Almost all the inheritances within were early-stage Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords, or even late-stage Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords. Zhao Feng had to pass through them properly. Furthermore, the demon beasts that were born and bred here would be tainted with more draconic providence, and their strength would become slightly more threatening. There were even a few places that were classified as forbidden areas, and the death rate was extremely high. The target is the Imperial Sky Inheritance. This is the inheritance of a late-stage Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lord. A prince found it during the last Crown Prince trial, but he wasn't able to conquer it. Zhao Feng looked at the map. Although the inheritance land found in the previous trial hadn't been conquered, it didn't mean that it was difficult. Some inheritance grounds had survived dozens of trials, but they still existed. Very few people would touch those inheritances. Having reached an agreement, the two of them set off. It would take about 5 days to head to the Royal Heaven Inheritance. Zhou Su was in charge of collecting some precious herbs from time to time. Ordinary herbs in the primeval space were several times more effective than herbs of the same grade in the outside world. If it was some extinct primordial medicinal herbs, then it could be called a treasure. Other than rare medicinal herbs, the demonic beasts they encountered were even more ferocious. Some of the martial monarch realm beasts refused to leave even after Zhao Feng unleashed his martial monarch realm aura. Wind Wolf Pack, why are you here? Zhou Suer's expression turned to surprise as she exclaimed. One could completely avoid the Wind Wolf Pack on the way to the Imperial Sky Inheritance. The map that Olding gave them indicated that there were many Wind Wolves, and most of them were early-stage kings. There was even a Wind Wolf King. The battle power of the Wind Wolf Pack would be even more terrifying under the leadership of the Wind Wolf King. What are you scared of? I'm a beast tamer, Zhao Feng said. Countless wind wolves surrounded him from all directions the instant he got close to the Wind Wolf Pack. Boom! Zhao Feng instantly circulated his sacred lightning body, and the magnificent power of an emperor spread out along with the pressure of his lightning body. The formation of the wolf pack was instantly broken. Some wind wolves that weren't even kings fell to the ground and started to tremble as they retreated. At this moment, roar! A heart-shaking howl sounded. This howl entered the ears of all the wind wolves, and it was like a stimulant. A cold light instantly appeared in the eyes of the wind wolves, and they stopped retreating. They slowly gathered together and completely blocked Zhao Feng's emperor magnificent power. If Zhao Feng revealed any weakness, they would all charge forward. At the same time, a gust of black wind blew over, and a black wolf that was 15 yards tall appeared in front of Zhao Feng. The savage beast's eyes flashed with a red light as it extended its silver-white claws, carrying with them a sharpness that seemed capable of cutting through all things. These claws stabbed toward Zhao Feng so quickly that no one could react. Mental energy spike. An invisible spike that looked like a cold purple crystal shot out from Zhao Feng's left eye and charged into the Wind Wolf King's soul. Roar! The Wind Wolf King instantly howled. The giant mental energy spike was condensed to the limit, and it was as smooth as crystal. It also contained an immortal and undying eye intent. The Wind Wolf King lost control of its body and fell to the side. However, it immediately stood up and started to struggle. Its red eyes glared at Zhao Feng with anger and unwillingness. Zhao Feng exclaimed. His soul attacks now contained the power of God Tribulation Lightning. He didn't expect the Wind Wolf King to be able to stand up immediately after being hit by his mental energy spike. As expected, the beasts that were born in the ancient dimension couldn't be measured by normal standards. Zhao Feng could also feel that the Wind Wolf King's intent was abnormally strong and condensed. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to control such a large pack of wind wolves. If such a demonic beast was used properly, It would definitely be a powerful combat force. No wonder every prince's team had a beast tamer. However, even a grandmaster beast tamer would find it extremely difficult to tame the beasts here. Roar. The Wind Wolf King suddenly howled into the sky. The other wind wolves turned into gusts of black wind and charged over without hesitation. Humph! Zhao Feng harumphed coldly as he unleashed his little world of wind lightning and merged it into the air. Heaven and earth instantly darkened as wind and lightning intertwined. All the wind wolves within Zhao Feng's little world had their speed and aura reduced. If they got within a certain range of Zhao Feng, the power of wind lightning would descend. Wind lightning eye flame. Zhao Feng's left eye focused, and a surge of eye bloodline flames appeared. Whoosh! A ball of half-transparent purple eye flame with the aura of God Tribulation lightning whistled over and landed on the Wind Wolf King's head. Plop! The Wind Wolf King fell to the ground once more. The wind lightning eye flame could be used in both the physical and the soul dimension, and it could burn continuously. Dark Heart Seal. While the Wind Wolf King was struggling, Zhao Feng circulated his eye intent and slowly imprinted the Dark Heart Seal into the Wind Wolf King's soul. Zhao Feng put away his little world of wind lightning. At this moment, the Wind Wolf King obediently stood next to Zhao Feng, and the wind wolves stopped attacking. Controlling the Wind Wolf King meant controlling all the wind wolves here. Zhao Feng picked up his dragon jade. A large amount of draconic providence instantly flowed into the dragon jade from the Wind Wolf King's body. At the same time, the draconic providence on the Wind Wolf King's body also started to gather. Draconic providence was also on the bodies of the beasts, but it was very rare. Furthermore, the beasts here were extremely fierce. Therefore, normal people wouldn't kill beasts to obtain draconic providence. Instead, they would put more effort into their inheritances. However, what Zhao Feng was doing didn't waste any time or effort. As long as he enslaved the Wind Wolf King, he would be able to obtain all the draconic providence on the Wind Wolf pack. The total amount of draconic providence was close to that of an early-stage Mystic Light Realm's inheritance. At the same time, Zhao Feng also gained a group of battle power. The Wind Wolf pack led by the Wind Wolf King could threaten Void God Realm emperors who had the strength of unrivaled emperors. Zhao Feng waved his left hand, and all the wind wolves entered the misty spatial world. Zhou Su'er watched the entire process in a daze. She had personally witnessed Zhao Feng's beast-taming abilities. The beast-taming abilities of such a young Grandmaster beast-taming master were shocking. Even the famous Grandmaster beast-taming masters of Lord dynasties wouldn't be able to tame an Emperor Wind Wolf King so easily. The beasts in the ancient dimension were extremely ferocious, and normal beasts couldn't be compared to them. At the same time, Zhou Su'er revealed a smile. Zhao Feng, I want to change steeds. Zhou Su'er's gentle voice suddenly sounded. Zhao Feng glanced at Zhou Su'er and let out the Wind Wolf King. After a while, the Wind Wolf King unwillingly let Zhou Su'er ride on its back. Zhao Feng felt that this was a good thing. Even if they wanted to pretend to be weak, they looked too weak and would make the Wind Wolf King suspicious instead. 5 days of travel. Zhao Feng zigzagged and went to all the nearby beast hordes. At the same time, he avoided the members that he might meet. All in all, Zhao Feng successfully enslaved another 2 beast hordes. They were the red-headed ice snakes and the black-striped venomous scorpions. By enslaving the leader of the beast hordes, he could control the entire beast hordes and obtain the draconic providence of all the beasts. However, this wasn't the case for all beast hordes. When the strongest of some beast hordes was defeated, the remaining beasts all ran away. Zhao Feng directly abandoned such beast hordes. Apart from the 2 beast hordes, Zhao Feng also enslaved 2 powerful rare beasts. Zhou Su'er personally witnessed the entire process. She was already numb. She was thinking about what would happen to those who were blind enough to provoke Zhao Feng. Imperial Sky Inheritance. The 2 stopped and looked at the majestic hall in front of them. This hall was obviously a little world of its own. It was the first time Zhao Feng had seen something that could change the appearance of a little world and create such a realistic building. The sounds of talking and fighting could be heard from within. It seemed that many people had arrived. The methods of someone at the late stages of the Mystic Light Realm are indeed different. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. The two were just about to enter when an unfamiliar voice sounded from behind them. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng turned around and saw two purple-haired males, and a muscular male in black walking over leisurely. The eyes of the two purple-haired males flashed with faint purple stars that seemed to be able to enchant one's mind. They carefully sized up Zhao Feng. The one who had called out Zhao Feng's name was one of the purple-haired males. You can leave now. We've taken down this Imperial Sky inheritance. The purple-haired male who was slightly older revealed a playful smile as his eyes flashed with purple light. The purple-haired male was more interested in the Wind Wolf King that Zhou Su'er was riding and looked at it closely. Behind them, the muscular male in black walked over slowly. His powerful aura caused the Wind Wolf King's black fur to stand on end, and it couldn't help but retreat. The muscular male glanced at Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er before walking into the Imperial Sky inheritance. He obviously ignored Zhao Feng and Zhou Su'er. Chapter 938. During the competition for the spots, Zhao Feng had memorized the names of all the members present. The two purple-haired middle-aged men were obviously the older generation geniuses of the Ji family, and the muscular male in black was a sacred lord of the Chao family. None of them fought during the fights for the spots, so their strength was unknown. Wait for me here. If you encounter any danger, activate the array in your dragon jade. Zhao Feng ordered as he looked at the three slowly step into the Imperial Sky inheritance. You're really going? Zhou Su'er had an anxious expression. She was just thinking that if anyone came to make trouble for Zhao Feng, they would meet a miserable end. However, she regretted it now. The Chao family and the Ji family were the families that supported the 8th prince, and the 8th prince was ranked 4th overall. The purple-haired male was a famous grandmaster beast tamer in the Great Gon Lord dynasty, Ji Bai. The muscular male in black was called Chao Zhang, and his nickname was Sacred Lord 100 Refined. Apparently, he had cultivated 100 peak-tier earth-grade techniques to the peak, and he was a peerless genius of the Chao family's older generation. The other side had a beast tamer, a powerful eye bloodline like the purple star eyes, and Sacred Lord 100 Refine's battle power. Even if Zhao Feng was outstanding in every aspect and surpassed invincible emperors, he wouldn't be able to defeat this combination. Now Zhou Su'er really hated herself for being a doctor. And Zhao Feng replied simply without explaining. Seeing how calm Zhao Feng was, Zhou Su'er thought that she might have underestimated him. Within the Imperial Sky inheritance, Ji Bai laughed coldly. Ji Dengtian, that brat came in by himself. That's even better. I'll use the purple star eyes to defeat him. Ji Dengtian had an arrogant expression, and his eyes were cold. The Ji family was originally going to join the 9th Prince's faction. However, when Sacred Lord Star Demon found out that Zhao Feng was a member of the 9th Prince's faction, he immediately left and joined the 8th Prince's faction. The reason he gave them was, your eye bloodline techniques aren't a match for Zhao Feng. You might not be able to obtain a spot. Furthermore, the younger generation of the Ji family was constantly discussing Zhao Feng's mysterious eye technique. I'll let that brat know how terrifying the purple star eyes are. My Ji family is the strongest eye bloodline family in the Lord dynasty. Ever since Ji Dengtian started cultivating, he had never lost to anyone outside of the Ji family. It was impossible for him to admit that his eye bloodline technique was weaker than a late-stage Void God Realm Jr. Hehe, I heard that Zhao Feng is participating in the Crown Prince trial as a beast tamer. A hint of excitement flashed in Ji Bai's eyes. Nonsense. He's just a faux god junior. Sacred Lord 100 Refined, who was flying in front, snickered coldly. Sacred Lord 100 Refined, you might not know this, but Zhao Feng has a cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Ji Bai smiled evilly. Oh. Sacred Lord 100 Refined's footsteps paused as his eyebrows rose. It was obvious that even Sacred Lords couldn't resist the temptation of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. However, I don't think he used the formation in his dragon jade. If we act rashly and force him into a corner, it won't be good. Ji Bai continued. Their voices then disappeared. It was obvious that they were communicating with their divine senses. The Imperial Sky inheritance was shaped like a palace. After entering, there was only a wide ancient path. The ancient path was covered in yellow sand, and the end of it was dark and led to an unknown place. In the depths of this path, boom, 6 experts started to fight with countless human-shaped sandstone monsters. In front of him, there was an endless stream of sandstone monsters, one after another, as if there was no end to them. Shui Yuan, I can't do it anymore. I don't know how far this path is, a short emperor said in a low tone after expending too much true yuan. It's indeed not enough with just our 2 groups. Shui Yuan looked at the 12th prince's group. They weren't in a good situation either. They had been fighting with these sandstone monsters ever since they entered the Imperial Sky Inheritance. Although the human-shaped sandstone monsters only had the strength of a half-step void god realm, their strength was suppressed by the ancient dimension. They weren't able to use their full strength due to the restrictions of the ancient dimension. The entire journey was extremely difficult, and they killed at least 600 to 700 sandstone monsters. However, it was still pitch black in front of them. They could only see countless sandstone monsters. Another group is coming, someone exclaimed. Those are the members of the 8th Prince's group. They're from the Chao family and the Ji family. That's Sacred Lord 100 refined from the Chao family. Hold on. The group from the Chao family and the Ji family is here. This inheritance will definitely be broken through. Shui Yuan encouraged the short emperor next to him with excitement in his eyes. With a Sacred Lord joining the battle, these puppets would be easily dealt with. Boom. Sacred Lord 100 refined was like a black meteor that brought with it a storm as he smashed into the center of the several dozen sandstone monsters. The pressure of a Sacred Lord-level Sacred Lord suddenly exploded, and a terrifying storm spread. Boom, boom, boom. Countless sandstone monsters nearby howled as their bodies crumbled and turned into yellow sand. All of you, leave the Imperial Sky Inheritance. Sacred Lord 100 refined turned around and looked at the 6 with a cold voice. The aura that covered heaven and earth and the pressure of a Sacred Lord made the 6 emperors unable to even stand. They felt suffocated. If you continue to stay here, we might accidentally kill you. Ji Bai slowly walked over as his cold laughter echoed across the ancient path. He waved his hands. Countless dark green pythons instantly appeared on the ground. They were covered in small scales that glittered with a cold light. Shui Yuan was enraged. They had spent a lot of effort to get to the Imperial Sky Inheritance. Who would be willing to give it to someone else just like that? However, they had been fighting for a long time and were exhausted. Even if they were at their peak state, the 6 of them wouldn't be a match for the Chao family and the Ji family. The difference between them and the top 5 princes was too big. Let's go. Shui Yuan snickered coldly and left with 2 members. The other group could only give up as well. There were many inheritances in the imperial tombs, so they still had other chances. Shui Yuan, which inheritance are you going to go to next? An elder in cloth clothes asked with a faint smile. Although the 2 groups weren't on the same side, they were able to get here together and were chased out by the 8th Prince's group, so they understood each other. Let's go to some of the smaller inheritances. We won't even be able to get the leftovers from the larger inheritances. Shui Yuan sighed. Facing the top 5 members of the prince's team, they felt powerless. The foundation of the 8 big families wasn't something normal 3-star forces could compare to. And there's someone up ahead. Someone said in surprise. A golden-haired, golden-eyed young man was walking toward them. Hand over 2 dragon jades and I'll let you go. A smile formed on Zhao Feng's face as he stood in the middle of the pathway, looking like he was going to rob them. What? The 6 were dazed as they recognized Zhao Feng. They were sure that their ears weren't playing tricks on them. They knew a bit about Zhao Feng. He was the beast tamer of the 9th Prince's group, and they heard that he had a spiritual pet from a race in the middle of the 10,000 ancient races. However, a late-stage void god realm beast tamer robbing 6 emperors would make many people laugh if they heard about it. Zhao Feng, either hand over the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, or activate the teleportation array in the dragon jade and leave. Shui Yuan's eyes were cold as he walked forward. He was filled with anger after being chased out by the experts of the Chao family and the Ji family, but he had nowhere to vent it. Now an ignorant junior had come to him. Hearing that, the other 5 also walked over and revealed playful smiles. Looks like you're not willing to hand over the dragon jades. Zhao Feng's golden left eye scanned over the crowd and seemed to be able to see through everything, causing their hearts to shake. Shui Yuan's eyebrows furrowed. He felt annoyed, but he also felt that something was wrong. Zhao Feng, you're courting death. One of the hot-tempered martial emperors in the white-robed old man's group cursed, and was about to attack. Sacred lightning dominating body. Zhao Feng took a step forward, and his body grew taller as a layer of golden blue lightning released from his body, making him seem like a small giant of golden lightning. At the same time, an ancient barrier of lightning formed around his body. Golden lightning flashed, and the sound of wind and lightning boomed. The emperor's palm landed on Zhao Feng's ancient barrier of lightning, and all of his attacks were dissipated. At the same time, a strong rebound force sent him flying several dozen yards. He spat out a mouthful of blood and sat on the ground as he looked at Zhao Feng in fear. The other 5 felt as if they had been hit by a hammer, and their blood boiled as a numbing sensation spread through their bodies under the pressure of Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body. What a strong physical force! He can ignore the attacks of an emperor, and even counterattack. This aura is comparable to a sacred lord's. How is this possible? He's clearly only at the late stages of the Void God realm, but he can still unleash battle power while being suppressed by the ancient dimension? Everyone was stunned and puzzled. At this moment, the feeling that Zhao Feng gave them was the same as Sacred Lord 100 refined. They couldn't fight back and could only obey. Shui Yuan was stunned as he looked at the calm Zhao Feng. According to his information, Zhao Feng's defense was extremely strong. He didn't expect his body to be so strong. Furthermore, he heard that Zhao Feng specialized in soul eye bloodline techniques. Now that he was here as a beast tamer, he definitely had other fighting spiritual pets. We're willing to hand over a piece of dragon jade, Shui Yuan said through gritted teeth. They only needed to hand over a piece of dragon jade, which wasn't very valuable to them. The princes behind them had no intention of becoming the crown prince, so there wasn't much use in collecting draconic providence. If they all activated the array and left, it would be a waste of their only life-saving method. Shui Yuan took a piece of dragon jade from one of his members and handed it to Zhao Feng. Another elder in white walked over to the emperor that Zhao Feng had sent flying and took off his dragon jade before handing it to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took the dragon jade and walked in without bothering with them. I can only extort them like this now. Zhao Feng sighed. Everyone was starting to get used to this place, and the 6 emperors could now use 30% of their strength. There's still a long way to go in this inheritance. I'll let them lead the way. A weird golden light flashed through Zhao Feng's left eye as he looked into the distance and casually walked forward. In the depths of the ancient path, Sacred Lord 100 Refined was like a black whirlwind that shattered all the sandstone monsters he passed by. Blazing Sky Force Fist. Sky Silk Shadowless Kick. Golden God Finger. Boom. 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 The 3 of them traveled through the ancient path at an extremely fast speed, leaving behind a trail of yellow sand wherever they passed. That brat won't come, right? Ji Dingtian stopped and looked behind him. He's coming, but he's very slow. Looks like he wants us to lead the way for him so he can reap the benefits. Ji Bai smiled wickedly after sensing for a while. Hee, as long as he can come, he can take everything if he wants. Ji Dingtian laughed coldly. Chapter 939. Olding, we've already passed through 2 inheritances. The 9th prince was slightly excited. The pseudo-crown prince seal in his hand gave off a white and gold light, and faint golden dragons could be seen on it. They didn't meet any beast hordes or other groups on the way. The inheritances were passed through perfectly with Old Ying's analysis and information. Jing Kai had witnessed Old Ying's performance along the way, and he was filled with admiration for the old man. Jing Kai felt that if he was just a bit stronger, he would have passed through even faster. Therefore, whenever he had some free time, he would use the resources he obtained to increase his strength. I wonder how the other 2 groups are doing. Jing Kai was slightly worried. After all, his group had Olding, who was a senior with impeccable experience, information, and strength. Shinjizi's group might have obtained even more. Olding said, A fortune teller couldn't be underestimated. Furthermore, Shinjizi had achieved a lot in mechanisms and secret techniques. Adding on Su Qingling and Shiyue, they were very suitable to pass through the less popular inheritances. The chances of meeting other groups in the less popular inheritances were even lower. Therefore, Shinjizi's group should be the safest. On the other hand, it was Zhao Feng's group. Olding believed in Zhao Feng's abilities from the information he received and the Ninth Prince's words. However, he still couldn't see through Zhao Feng. I think that Zhao Feng didn't pass through the inheritances. He might have gone to tame beasts and obtain draconic providence, which can increase his battle power. Jing Kai thought for a moment and said. He didn't think that Zhao Feng and Zhou Su would succeed the most. If that's really the case, that's good. A large number of beasts will be very useful in the next stage of the Crown Prince trial. The main point was that Zhao Feng definitely wouldn't be so honest. It was hard on Zhao Feng to give Zhou Su, who was useless at the start, to him. A rare smile appeared on Old Ying's face. Right now no one had used their dragon jades. This was the best situation that Old Ying expected. As long as they continued to advance cautiously, the Ninth Prince still had hope. Within the Imperial Sky inheritance, Zhao Feng casually walked around and used his left eye to inspect his surroundings. This little world of inheritance was completely different from the little worlds of early-stage Sacred Lords. Everything here gave off a very realistic feeling. Moreover, Zhao Feng had already gone a few miles in, but he was still in the small world. There might still be dozens or hundreds of miles in front of him. This proved that Sacred Lord Royal Heaven's usage of the laws of space was extremely exquisite, and he merged them into his little world. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng knew nothing about space profound. The speed has slowed down. Zhao Feng's left eye saw the situation of the three people in front of him. The human-shaped sandstone monster's body was a bit bigger than before. It should have leveled up from half-step king to early-stage king. Someone's here. Zhao Feng's expression changed. His left eye only saw 4 figures appearing at the entrance of the Royal Heaven inheritance. Due to the small world's rules, even Zhao Feng's left eye could not see who it was. However, to be able to form a team of 4 meant that the prince had a lot of slots. He could only be in one of the top 5 teams. If it was the 8th prince's team, then it would be bad. If that's the case, then I can only take care of the 3 in front. Zhao Feng's gaze was firm. He had to obtain this late-stage Mystic Light Realm inheritance no matter what. Furthermore, he had already reached this place, so he shouldn't be far from the end. A pair of scarlet wings of lightning several yards long spread behind Zhao Feng's back, and his speed instantly increased dramatically as he turned into a ball of red light and sped forward. Boom! Boom! Blazing Sky Force Fist. Tyrannical Imperial Finger. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was the main force, while Ji Dingtian and Ji Bai supported him. The 3-man team advanced at an extremely fast speed. However, the strength of the sandstone monsters increased the further they went. Even the 3 of them started to slow down as they expended energy. Looks like we've underestimated this inheritance. Ji Bai's eyebrows furrowed. He had already lost 10% of the spiritual beasts he had prepared in the outside world. Furthermore, although the beasts here were strong, taming them was very difficult. Without the help of experts, the success rate would be even lower. However, this would waste everyone's time. Therefore, Sacred Lord 100 Refine's group's main target was the inheritance. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, we don't specialize in physical attacks. Ji Dingtian said helplessly. Up until now, he had been the least useful. If the 2 of them were physical combatants, they might have already broken through this inheritance. Luckily, Sacred Lord 100 Refine's battle power was extremely strong. He was like a black storm that blew sand everywhere he passed. Behind him, Ji Bai sensed that something was wrong and turned around. A scarlet red light with a shocking aura was flying over. Zhao Feng? So fast? How is this possible? Ji Bai's expression froze. Zhao Feng's current speed was even faster than Sacred Lord 100 Refined. Zhao Feng's here. Senior Chao Zhang, let's follow the plan. Ji Dingtian messaged. Zhao Feng, just as Ji Bai was about to go forward and greet him, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Zhao Feng's speed hadn't decreased at all, and he was charging toward him. The powerful undulation of True Yuan was a sign that he was about to attack. What's going on? Ji Bai paused for a moment. From the looks of it, Zhao Feng was about to attack him. What was going on? This was completely different from what he had planned. Why did Zhao Feng dare to attack him? At this moment, the plan that the three had set up was completely messed up. Everyone didn't know what to do. Ji Bai instinctively controlled a portion of the green pythons to attack Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, what's the meaning of this? Ji Bai roared in anger. A cold smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Sacred lightning dominating body. As he flew, Zhao Feng's body suddenly became taller and released a layer of golden blue lightning. He turned into a ball of golden lightning that shot toward Ji Bai. On the ground, the green pythons were pushed back by the powerful sacred lightning body. Before they could even get close to Zhao Feng, they were unable to move. How is this possible? Ji Bai was shocked. He had spent a lot of his savings to buy these green pythons. Each of them was a late-stage king, and their bodies were extremely powerful. But now, they couldn't even get close to Zhao Feng. All of this happened in less than 2 breaths. Seeing that Zhao Feng was about to attack, Ji Bai opened a spiritual pet bag. Boom! A mountain monster landed in the middle of the ancient path and completely blocked the path, separating Zhao Feng and Ji Bai. This mountain monster's body was partially crystallized. It was obviously a mutated Yao spirit. The mountain monster clasped its hands together and swung them toward Zhao Feng. Sacred lightning dominating fist. Zhao Feng swung his fists and unleashed a giant fist of golden lightning. It was like a metallic mountain of lightning, and it landed on the mountain monster's hammer attack. Boom! The mountain monster's hands were instantly shattered by Zhao Feng. Boom! Boom! Zhao Feng raised his fist once more and punched the mountain monster's head. Several fist shadows flashing with golden lightning bolts charged out in a domineering manner. At the same time, Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body and turned into a scarlet-white pillar of lightning that shot forward. Boom! Ji Bai originally thought that Zhao Feng would die for sure after taking out the mountain monster. However, he did not expect the head of the hill troll to explode in the next instant. A bolt of crimson lightning flew out and bombarded him. Before it even got close, the powerful physical pressure and lightning made Ji Bai's face go white. A sense of death that he had never felt before spread throughout his body. Ji Bai froze and didn't know what to do. Brat, you're too arrogant. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's deep voice sounded. Originally, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined was going to follow Ji Bai's plan and continue to ignore Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng suddenly attacked first. At this moment he was dazed. After all, the three of them wanted the Cloud Silkworm Saint Butterfly in Zhao Feng's hands, and they had already come up with a plan. They couldn't give Zhao Feng the chance to use his Dragon Jade to escape. Although he didn't know why Ji Bai's life was in danger, he had to stop him. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined stepped forward and turned into a streak of black light as he arrived next to Ji Bai. Blazing Sky Force Fist. A fist made of black flames that seemed to be able to split heaven and earth apart shot out. Sacred Lightning Protection. Zhao Feng merged the power of wind lightning and his sacred lightning body together, and an ancient barrier of lightning formed around his body. Golden lightning flashed as the sound of wind and lightning boomed. Boom! Wang, the fist made of black flames landed on Zhao Feng's body, but it was blocked by the sacred lightning protection. Lightning boomed and light flashed. That wasn't all. Crack! Dazzling golden lightning patterns shot out from the surface of the quaint lightning barrier, shattering the monstrous might of the black flame light fist. Zhao Feng estimated that Sacred Lord Hundred Refined could use 40% of his full strength. His sacred lightning body and defensive secret techniques were more than enough to block this attack. What? This junior? Sacred Lord Hundred Refined paused. To think that Zhao Feng had actually cultivated such a powerful defensive secret technique, fusing his physical force with the astral thunder to completely block his attack. How was this possible? A Sacred Lord's attack was completely blocked by a Void God Realm Junior's defensive technique. Purple Star Fantasy Field. Behind Ji Bai, Ji Dingtian's eyes flashed with a mysterious purple light as a surge of powerful soul eye bloodline power charged toward Zhao Feng. In an instant, tall purple walls rose around Zhao Feng one after another. The sky turned dark, and a purple demonic moon hung in the sky surrounded by purple mist. However, Zhao Feng's eyes were emotionless. It was as if all of this only appeared around Zhao Feng and didn't exist in his eyes. Zhao Feng's aura didn't decrease at all as he charged toward the tall wall in front of him. Boom! The purple walls collapsed, and a large building appeared in front of Zhao Feng. A faint smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Using an illusion in front of him really didn't know how high heaven and earth were. From the perspective of others, this was a building. However, in Zhao Feng's left eye, this was Ji Bai. Boom! Who? Zhao Feng charged forward with a surge of physical force. He instantly attacked when he saw Zhao Feng's faint smile. Ji Bai immediately circulated his true yuan. Wang, on the dragon jade, a mysterious and complicated formation instantly spread out. Ji Bai's body was covered in a layer of draconic light, and his figure flashed before disappearing. Are you going to go by yourself, or do you want me to give you a ride? Zhao Feng stopped in midair after missing his attack, and smiled as he looked at Ji Dingtian. At this moment, Ji Dingtian was still dazed. He didn't understand why his soul Dao illusions were useless against Zhao Feng. How was this possible? He was able to see through everything even though he was in an illusion. Zhao Feng, you've angered me. I'll personally kill you. Sacred Lord 100 Refined had an enraged expression, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Chapter 940. Zhao Feng, you've angered me. I'll personally kill you. Sacred Lord 100 Refined had an enraged expression, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Ji Bai's life was still in danger even though he tried to stop him, and he was forced to use the array in his dragon jade to escape. Furthermore, his opponent was a late-stage Void God Realm Jr. No Sacred Lord would be able to endure such humiliation. Even if Zhao Feng escaped this time, he would continue to chase after him and wash away this humiliation. At this moment, Ji Dingtian also woke up, and panic appeared on his face. Do you want to go yourself, or do you want me to send you off? Zhao Feng's words meant that he was the next target. Although he didn't believe that Zhao Feng had the ability to do so, he felt uneasy. Sacred Lord 100 Refined, kill him. Who? Sacred Lord 100 Refined stepped forward quickly and charged toward Zhao Feng. The pressure of a Sacred Lord exploded, and the walls nearby instantly shattered. Tyrannical Imperial Finger. Ascension Kick. Sacred Lord 100 Refined unleashed two attacks at the same time. Countless kicks made of sacred power flashed around Zhao Feng and locked down his movements. At the same time, a giant finger flashing with a golden light pushed forward with a dominating aura. Sacred Lightning Dominating Punch. Zhao Feng used the scarlet wings of lightning to change his position and released a burst of true yuan. He then punched out with both fists. Countless bolts of golden lightning intertwined and clashed with Sacred Lord 100 Refined's attack. With the help of the counterforce, Zhao Feng's speed increased slightly, and his scarlet wings of lightning fluttered as he charged toward Ji Dingtian. How is this possible? Fear appeared on Ji Dingtian's face. The power of Zhao Feng's fist technique wasn't much weaker than Sacred Lord 100 Refined's. On top of that, Zhao Feng had extremely profound flying techniques. He couldn't let him get close. Purple Star Days. Ji Dingtian's eyes flashed with a purple light as a powerful surge of eye bloodline power shot toward Zhao Feng. Being a peerless genius of the Ji family's older generation, Ji Dingtian obviously knew more than just illusions. Since illusions were useless against him, he would use another method. Zhao Feng instantly felt that something was wrong, and his soul started to become chaotic. His control over his body and bloodline started to decrease. Even Xiao Chen's perception of the outside world became abnormally blurry. The scarlet lightning wings on his back flickered. Clearly, there was an error in the circulation of his veritable essence energy. It's a mental energy technique that can confuse one's senses. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. This sort of illusory technique was slightly similar to his Eye of Ice Soul, but the focus was different. The Eye of Ice Soul condensed the opponent's soul intent. At the same time, It also affected the physical dimension to a certain extent. It also required a corresponding bloodline. The purple star bewilderment, on the other hand, was a more profound and pure soul attack. After being reborn, Zhao Feng placed his focus on the sacred lightning body and the perfect blood devil sun bloodline. His ice and water bloodlines were falling behind, so his ice-eye bloodline techniques couldn't keep up with Zhao Feng's pace. Ji Dingtian's purple star days was very suitable for Zhao Feng. A smug smile appeared on Ji Dingtian's face when he saw Zhao Feng pause for a moment. This brat only has a certain resistance against illusions. He's probably never seen such a profound illusion that can confuse one's mind before. Ji Dingtian laughed. After being hit by his purple star days, Sacred Lord 100 Refined would be able to easily take care of Zhao Feng. However, transparent lightning suddenly flashed around Zhao Feng's body. Countless symbols of God tribulation lightning flashed in Zhao Feng's condensed dark purple soul, like meteors in the night sky. Boom, boom, boom. The faint purple eye bloodline power that had entered Zhao Feng's soul was shattered by the immortal and undying God tribulation lightning. At the same time, a golden light started to spin in Zhao Feng's left eye, and the circulation speed of his left eye reached the limit. Suddenly, a dreamy dark golden light flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Soul days. A powerful dark purple soul power enveloped Ji Dingtian through Zhao Feng's eye intent. This is... Ji Dingtian's footsteps became unsteady as he looked at Zhao Feng in shock. This is my purple star days. Ji Dingtian exclaimed in shock and panic as he descended from the sky. How is this possible? How do you know? The secret eye bloodline technique of the Ji family. Ji Dingtian started to speak incoherently. The circulation of true yuan within his body had become chaotic, and he wouldn't be able to use any eye bloodline techniques for a short period of time. Ji Dingtian immediately circulated his soul intent and eye intent to undo this technique. Not bad. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. The purple star days was also a type of illusion, so it wasn't hard for Zhao Feng to duplicate it. This mental energy illusion was even more powerful when combined with his powerful soul eye bloodline power. A violent gust of wind blew over. Not good. Zhao Feng had been too focused on duplicating the secret technique just now. At this moment, Sacred Lord 100 Refine's fist arrived. Even from far away, Zhao Feng felt a piercing pain from the sacred lightning, and the golden blue lightning started to dim. Sacred lightning protection. Zhao Feng circulated the power of wind lightning and condensed an ancient barrier of lightning around him that flashed with golden lightning. Boom. The sacred lightning protection shattered, and Zhao Feng's body was smashed into the wall. A tearing pain spread throughout his body. A black figure continued to charge over, and its powerful aura pressed toward Zhao Feng, not giving him any chance to breathe. Zhao Feng's expression was cold as he circulated his true yuan of wind lightning. The scarlet wings of lightning on his back flapped, and Zhao Feng turned into a bolt of scarlet red lightning that clashed with Sacred Lord 100 Refined. If it wasn't for the fact that Ji Dingtian's mental energy technique had affected him and caused his true yuan to become chaotic, the defense of his sacred lightning body would have been greatly reduced. However, that didn't matter. He had also learned the Ji family's purple star eyes. Zhao Feng circulated the water of wind lightning and the wood of wind lightning to quickly recover from the injuries from the punch. Dominating Imperial Finger. Blazing Sky Dominating Fist. Sky Silkworm Shadowless Kick. Sacred Lord 100 Refined used both his hands and feet, and didn't stop at all. His attacks were extremely smooth and domineering. The shadows of fists, palms, and kicks surrounded Zhao Feng. The power to split mountains and rivers. Sacred Lightning Body. Sacred Lightning Protection. Zhao Feng circulated his sacred lightning body to the maximum, and a blinding flash of golden lightning appeared around his body. An ancient barrier of lightning surrounded his body, and the sound of wind and lightning kept on ringing. Zhao Feng didn't care what skills Sacred Lord 100 Refined used. He blocked them all. Boom, boom, boom. The sacred lightning protection around Zhao Feng's body exploded, and a bright golden light shot out and pushed back all the true yuan and sacred power nearby. Sacred Lord 100 Refined snickered coldly. After seeing Zhao Feng's defensive secret technique, he wouldn't fall for it. Sacred Lord 100 Refined turned into a black shadow and stepped into the gap between the shock waves. He wasn't affected by the Sacred Lightning Protection's power at all. Sky Collapsing Divine Fist. All of Sacred Lord 100 Refined's aura and intent gathered on his right fist, and a gust of wind and mystic light shot out like a giant mountain. After using this move, Sacred Lord 100 Refined's aura became weaker, and his intent dropped. Sacred Lightning Dominating Fist. Zhao Feng circulated the symbols of God Tribulation Lightning within his crystal core dimension, and the power of ancient lightning around his body. Primal and tyrannical divine lightning gathered in Zhao Feng's fists, and a vast and domineering bolt of golden lightning shot out like a sea of lightning. Boom, boom, boom. A powerful storm of destruction sent both Zhao Feng and Sacred Lord 100 Refined flying, and they smashed into the walls on both sides. In the distance, Ji Dingtian's face became pale white, and he immediately retreated dozens of yards with a dazed expression. He's not at a disadvantage when fighting Sacred Lord 100 Refined in close combat. Ji Dingtian's voice trembled in disbelief. Sacred Lord 100 Refined might have held back in the first exchange, and Zhao Feng used his flying techniques and secret techniques to block Sacred Lord 100 Refined's attack. However, just now, Sacred Lord 100 Refined released his full power and used a Heaven Tier technique, but he was still able to fight on par with Zhao Feng. One had to know that Sacred Lord 100 Refined was a member of the Chao family, one of the 8 big families. The Chao family was a family that specialized in combat techniques, and they also specialized in body strengthening. They had studied physical combat techniques very deeply, and they were the strongest in close combat among the 8 big families. This can't be real. He has such a terrifying eye bloodline and a physical attack that can fight on par with a Sacred Lord in close combat. Ji Dingtian's body started to tremble. His eyes were dim, and they were filled with fear. He didn't dare to attack. He was afraid of attracting Zhao Feng's attention. If that happened, he would end up the same as Ji Bai. Boom, boom. 2 figures jumped out from the wall and clashed once more. Zhao Feng, let's see how long you can last. Sacred Lord 100 Refined gritted his teeth and harumphed coldly as he casually used a technique. By now, he considered Zhao Feng to be an expert of the same generation. Zhao Feng's physical defense was monstrous, and it even surpassed the Shi families. Sacred Lord 100 Refined couldn't do anything to him right now. However, the difference between the Void God realm and the Mystic Light realm was still there. The sacred body of a Mystic Light realm had a strong recovery ability, and Mystic Light sacred power could affect the soul when attacking. No matter how strong Zhao Feng was, he still had to maintain his sacred lightning body and heal his injuries apart from attacking. His true yuan was being used up like water. Hee. An excited smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Fighting with Sacred Lord 100 Refined in close combat made Zhao Feng feel extremely good. The blood in the depths of his body started to boil. Due to the suppression of the ancient dimension, Sacred Lord 100 Refined could only use 40% of his strength. Zhao Feng also didn't use any soul eye bloodline techniques. Instead, he fought in close combat. Boom. A glass-like flame suddenly appeared around Zhao Feng's body, and a scorching and terrifying aura exploded out. He was like a burning blood-colored sun that released a blinding light. The ancient pathway was scorching hot. This is Blood Devil Sun bloodline? Sacred Lord 100 Refined revealed a surprised expression. Why did Zhao Feng have the bloodline of the Tai family? Boom, boom. Zhao Feng was like a flaming demonic sovereign. His body was covered in flames, and his wings of lightning fluttered. The explosive power of his fists and palms had reached a terrifying level. Zhao Feng punched out, and a blood-colored flame exploded. Lightning surrounded it, and it burned and corroded everything around it. The power it released was on par with Sacred Lord 100 Refined's techniques. In the instant they clashed, Sacred Lord 100 Refined felt as if Zhao Feng had absorbed a bit of his yuan qi and blood. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's complexion regained some of its color. The essence of the mystic light sacred body was not simple. Although only a small portion of it had been sucked away, it was still extremely powerful. Although only a small portion of it had been absorbed, It was extremely beneficial to Void God Realm kings. This is the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline of the Tai family. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was stunned as he pulled away from Zhao Feng. As someone from one of the 8 big families, he understood this very well. Chapter 941. That's the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline of the Tai family. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was stunned as he pulled away from Zhao Feng. As someone from one of the 8 big families, he understood this very well. The perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline was the nemesis of close combat. He finally understood why Tai Hongnan had invited Zhao Feng to the 4th Prince's Hall for a chat before the fights for the spots. Zhao Feng had the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. This was a battle-type bloodline that could be ranked in the top 10 Imperial Dao bloodlines. His sacred body was countered to a certain degree when fighting against the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. Even if Qiao Zhang cultivated his heaven-grade battle technique to the max level, Zhao Feng would still be able to use his Blood Devil Sun bloodline and defensive body to fight against him. This meant that if this continued, Qiao Zhang would still be the loser. Furthermore, Zhao Feng still had the most mysterious eye bloodline that he hadn't used on Qiao Zhang. Ji Dingtian's illusions were useless against Zhao Feng, and he was scared by Zhao Feng's soul eye bloodline technique, and didn't dare to attack. From this, one could see that Zhao Feng's soul eye bloodline technique could definitely threaten sacred lords. On top of that, Zhao Feng was also a beast tamer and definitely had many spiritual pets, including the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, which had a bloodline from the 10,000 ancient races. Thinking up to there, Qiao Zhang lost all will to fight. Furthermore, he could only use 40% of his strength right now. Why was this junior so troublesome? Ji Bai and Ji Dingtian just so happened to be useless against him. Zhao Feng, let's stop for now. Qiao Zhang reached out with his right hand and signaled for them to stop. Even if he could use his full battle power, he didn't dare to kill Zhao Feng after knowing about the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. The Tai family was the strongest family among the 8 big families. If he killed the possessor of the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline, then the 2 families would start a war. Furthermore, if he continued to fight with Zhao Feng, it was still unknown who would win. Whether he won or lost, he would be the one to make Zhao Feng famous. We don't know what dangers lie ahead in this inheritance. Why don't we team up and wait until we get the inheritance? Sacred Lord 100 Refined felt awkward and used this as an excuse to stop the battle. Now, Zhao Feng's existence was almost equivalent to a sacred lord. He was much more useful than the other 2 people in his team. In the distance, Ji Dingtian was still in shock. Regardless of whether it was the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline that Zhao Feng had displayed or Sacred Lord 100 Refine's invitation to a truce, Zhao Feng's Blood Devil Sun bloodline, and Sacred Lord 100 Refine's Blood Devil Sun bloodline. He did not expect a late Void God Realm Jr. to be able to force them into such a situation. The beast tamer Ji Bai was forced to activate the formation and escape. On the other hand, his eye bloodline technique was completely useless against Zhao Feng. In fact, the latter had secretly learned it and used it to humiliate him. The sacred lords in the group also threw away their pride and asked for a truce. He could tell that even Sacred Lord 100 Refined wouldn't have much of a chance of winning if the battle continued. Now he regretted it. Perhaps it was because his cultivation had been too smooth that he didn't even believe the Grand Elder's words. Zhao Feng paused for a moment. He was having a great time fighting, and he didn't expect Sacred Lord 100 Refined to lose his battle intent. However, when he thought about the 4 figures that came in, Zhao Feng also fell silent for a moment. I want 70% of the inheritance, Zhao Feng said in a certain tone. Sacred Lord 100 Refined's eyebrows furrowed, and his mouth twitched. This junior's appetite wasn't normal. He had 2 people on his side, but Zhao Feng still wanted to monopolize 70%? Then I'll take 30%. Qiao Zhang gritted his teeth and agreed before glancing at Ji Dingtian. Ji Dingtian had a helpless smile. He obviously understood what Sacred Lord 100 Refined meant. He didn't have a share of the Imperial Sky inheritance. I'll lead the way, Zhao Feng said. The reason he wanted 70% of the inheritance was because Sacred Lord 100 Refined wasn't very useful to him. It was just to prevent the 4 that came in. If Zhao Feng forced Sacred Lord 100 Refined away, and teamed up with the 4 that came in, it wouldn't be worth it. Sure. Sacred Lord 100 Refined paused for a moment. Bam! A never-ending stream of sandstone monsters surged over from the front of the path. While Zhao Feng and Sacred Lord 100 Refined were fighting, the sandstone monsters kept on attacking. However, the shockwaves from their battle were enough to kill the sandstone monsters that got close, so they didn't put them in their eyes at all. Now that the two had stopped fighting, the sandstone monsters started to charge over again. Zhao Feng stood in the center of the path and faced the sandstone monsters as his consciousness touched the mysterious golden ball in the dimension of his left eye. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed with the golden light of an amber soul essence, and a powerful surge of eye intent and soul power that made one's heart shake appeared. The expressions of Ji Dengtian and Sacred Lord 100 Refined instantly froze. What strong soul intent! Ji Dengtian was stunned. He didn't know how much the ancient dimension suppressed Zhao Feng. Therefore, he couldn't tell what level Zhao Feng's soul intent had reached. Why did he choose eye bloodline techniques to deal with the sandstone monsters? Could it be an eye bloodline technique that's biased towards the physical dimension? Sacred Lord 100 Refined was puzzled. Wang, a large faint golden ripple that seemed to contain the laws of everything suddenly shot out from Zhao Feng's left eye. The faint golden light shot out from the center of the path and passed through the bodies of all the sandstone monsters before spreading into the distance. Nothing happened for a long time. It passed through the sandstone monsters? Is this a soul attack? Although Sacred Lord 100 Refined didn't know much about the soul, only the soul could pass through the physical dimension. What kind of eye bloodline technique is this? Could it be what Ji Wuxia said? Even with Ji Dengtian's experience, he couldn't tell what kind of eye bloodline technique Zhao Feng used, or what it did. However, a shocking scene appeared in the next instant. All the sandstone monsters in the center of the path that were pierced by the faint golden light disappeared into thin air. An empty path was created with just one glance from Zhao Feng. However, there was a thin yellow mist in the center of the path. Zhao Feng closed his left eye and used up a lot of his mental energy. These sandstone monsters were created by a sacred lord's little world, and they were made up of a single particle that was extremely rough. As long as Zhao Feng could analyze the structure of a single particle, it would be extremely easy for him to break it down. However, this was the first time he had broken down such a large number of them. Even with Zhao Feng's soul intent, he felt tired and empty. However, he had achieved his goal. Firstly, he could quickly break through the inheritance and obtain the resources and draconic providence. No one would be able to stop him if he wanted to escape. Secondly, he could scare Sacred Lord 100 Refined. Although Sacred Lord 100 Refined was only working with him verbally, Zhao Feng wasn't able to completely trust him. Furthermore, no Sacred Lord would willingly submit to a Void God Realm King. Therefore, Zhao Feng needed someone to scare him. Sacred Lord 100 Refined wasn't willing to be enemies with him. Let's go. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. This is... Sacred Lord 100 Refined's mind went blank. Even with his experience as a Sacred Lord, he couldn't understand what was happening. What kind of power was that faint golden light? It instantly made countless sandstone monsters disappear. With his eyes, he couldn't see how far the light had shone, or how many sandstone monsters had disappeared. If it was the ability to teleport, he could accept it. However, Sacred Lord 100 Refined didn't feel any disturbance in space. He suddenly thought of what would happen if this beam of light shone on his body in battle. Thinking up to there, his soul started to tremble. This scene also made Ji Dengtian feel as if he was struck by lightning. He remembered what Ji Wuxia had said. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique could make physical objects and souls completely disappear. Zhao Feng walked at the front and waved his left arm. The group of black venomous scorpions instantly covered the ground, and a cold and fierce aura filled the ancient path. Giant dark brown venomous scorpions were covered in black tattoos. Their claws and tails were all lethal attacks. The ancient path was extremely wide. Although most of the sandstone monsters in the middle had been disintegrated by Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique, there were still some. The sandstone monsters at the edges still existed. They didn't have any intelligence, so they didn't know what fear was. All they did was attack the outsiders. Jiang. Under the leadership of the Black Venomous Scorpion King, All the black venomous scorpions charged forward like a black wave and opened a path for Xiaofeng. These beasts are the original beasts of the ancient dimension. Ji Dingtian exclaimed. Ji Bai was also a beast tamer in Sacred Lord 100 Refine's group. At the start, he was planning to tame the beasts. However, even with Sacred Lord 100 Refine's help, the leader of the beasts was still very difficult to tame. On top of that, Ji Dingtian alone wasn't enough to deal with the other beasts. Therefore, the plan to tame the beasts failed. However, Xiaofeng and Zhou Suer's group managed to tame a beast horde. Furthermore, the battle power of this group of black venomous scorpions was extraordinary. Sacred Lord 100 Refined looked at Xiaofeng's back. He knew that Xiaofeng wasn't someone he could offend. Just like that, the peerless experts of the Chao and Ji families followed behind Xiaofeng and quickly entered the depths of the inheritance. They flew for a long time. Only now did the trio feel that the number of sandstone monsters had suddenly increased. This meant that Xiaofeng's mysterious eye bloodline technique was able to wipe out all the sandstone monsters from such a long distance. There was no need for Xiaofeng to say anything. Sacred Lord 100 Refined automatically led the way. The trio soon saw the end of the Imperial Sky inheritance with the help of a Sacred Lord level expert and the black venomous scorpions. This ancient path was probably almost 100 miles long. Xiaofeng, there's a Sacred Lord level sandstone monster in front of us. Let's go together. Sacred Lord 100 Refine's expression became grim. A giant sandstone monster the size of a small mountain blocked the path in front of them. Okay. Xiaofeng immediately circulated his sacred lightning body, and his body became taller as a layer of golden blue lightning radiated from his body. As he flew, invisible physical lightning destroyed everything in its path. Boom. Blazing Sky Force Fist. Xiaofeng and Sacred Lord 100 Refined attacked, and black, red and golden light flashed. The majestic and overbearing attack destroyed everything. He has the ability to regenerate. The parts of the sandstone monster that had been destroyed by the two turned into yellow sand and fell to the ground. However, the yellow sand seemed to be attracted by something and merged into the sandstone monster's body, and the parts that had been destroyed recovered. As long as the sand is still here, it won't die. Xiaofeng opened his left eye and looked at the sandstone monster. Xiaofeng's left eye saw something that normal people couldn't see, and his expression turned to joy. The structure of the particles of this Sacred Lord level sandstone monster isn't very different from the ones in front. Wang, an amber light flashed from Xiaofeng's left eye, and a faint golden beam of light shot out and pierced through the sandstone monster's heart. The part of the sandstone that the faint golden beam of light pierced through disappeared, revealing 3 sparkling pearls at the heart. Xiaofeng waved his left hand, and 3 substandard god crystals flew over and were put into the misty spatial world by Xiaofeng. Boom! The instant the substandard god crystals were taken away, the entire sandstone monster turned into yellow sand and fell to the ground. Chapter 942. Substandard God Crystals. Ji Dingtian exclaimed. Substandard God Crystals were the best legendary crystal stones in the continent zone, and they were perfect for Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords to cultivate with. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was also envious. Even he only had a few substandard divine crystals on hand, and he had obtained them from dangerous forbidden grounds while facing great danger. Sacred Lord 100 Refined almost couldn't help but fight over them when he saw Xiaofeng obtain 3 substandard god crystals so easily. Xiaofeng, you get 70% of the Sacred Lord's inheritance, and I get 30%. What do you mean by taking all the substandard god crystals? Sacred Lord 100 Refined immediately asked. I do get 70% of the inheritance, and you get 30%, but this is what I obtained from killing the monster. Xiaofeng snickered coldly and said. Xiaofeng didn't expect this Sacred Lord level sandstone monster to have 3 substandard god crystals. It might be a hidden reward. One had to know that he had only obtained 1 substandard god crystal after destroying the 3 inheritances of early-stage Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords. After all, Sacred Lords needed substandard god crystals to cultivate, and no Sacred Lord would complain about having too many. From this, one could see that this inheritance wasn't simple. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was speechless. Indeed, these 3 substandard god crystals were the core of the sandstone monster, and weren't considered inheritances. However, Sacred Lord 100 Refined felt that Zhao Feng wasn't scared of anything after seeing how strong Zhao Feng was. There should be a lot of substandard god crystals in the inheritance of a late-stage Sacred Lord. Sacred Lord 100 Refined could only think this way. The instant the Sacred Lord level sandstone monster collapsed, the trio stepped in. In front of him was a spacious hall without any furnishings. The surrounding walls were engraved with lifelike golden murals. The moment the 3 of them entered, invisible draconic providence surged into their dragon jades. But it didn't take long for it to stop. This draconic providence. Sacred Lord 100 Refined was puzzled. There was less draconic providence than expected. It wasn't even as much as an early-stage Sacred Lord. Could the information be wrong? Was this not the inheritance of a late-stage Sacred Lord? However, based on what they had encountered, it definitely surpassed the early-stage Sacred Lord. If it weren't for Zhao Feng's mysterious eye bloodline technique, Sacred Lord 100 Refined's group of 3 wouldn't have been able to make it here. What's that? Ji Dingtian looked up. At the same time, the 3 people's eyes were attracted by the 3 transparent light balls floating in the air. Dazzling golden light scattered from them, illuminating the surroundings. Congratulations to everyone for successfully passing the trial. However, there are no inheritors who meet the requirements. Therefore, 3 treasures will be given to you. In the hall, a mysterious voice echoed, as if it was the will of heaven and earth. This is the power of willpower. Ji Dingtian was shocked. No, this is the remnant will of a small world. Sacred Lord 100 Refined let out a breath after being shocked. The will of a small world? Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. Once the little world becomes stable and real, the Sacred Lord will imprint his will into the little world and become the manager. Sacred Lord 100 Refined explained. Perhaps it was because he didn't know much. Manager? Speaking of managers, Zhao Feng thought of the little thieving cat in the misty spatial world. At this moment, it was like a manager, and it helped Zhao Feng take care of the green water sky lotuses, spiritual flesh snow jade lotuses, 5 poison distinct bees, etc. From the looks of it, the remnant will of this little world still follows the will of the Sacred Lord, and strictly chooses an inheritor. Zhao Feng rubbed his chin. If that was the case, then the lack of draconic providence could be explained. That's right. Sacred Lord 100 Refined paused for a moment. He didn't expect Zhao Feng to understand so quickly. Zhao Feng was still at the late stages of the Void God realm. And he didn't even have a little world. Everyone paused for a moment. If it was a normal inheritance, they would be able to obtain all the resources as long as they passed the trial. However, the inheritance of a Sacred Lord was different. The remnant will of the little world strictly followed the orders of the Sacred Lord, and managed this dimension. This meant that the 3 of them could only obtain the items within the 3 balls of light in the air, unless they could destroy the will of a late-stage mystic light realm that was imprinted within the little world. That way, they would be able to obtain all the resources. However, that was obviously impossible. Once they attacked, the remnant will would gather the power of the entire little world. It would be extremely easy to kill them. This meant that there was no other way. Zhao Feng looked closely at the 3 balls of light in the air. There was an ancient book within the first ball of light called the Imperial Sky Chi Absorption Technique. There was a red herb with a ghost face behind it, and there were 10 substandard god crystals. Sacred Lord 100 Refined started to think. There were only 3 treasures. According to the agreement between him and Zhao Feng, Sacred Lord 100 Refined could obtain one of the items within the ball of light. They didn't know anything about the red herb with a ghost face or the Imperial Sky Chi Absorption Technique, so they couldn't estimate their value. However, they could estimate their value through the 10 substandard god crystals next to them. The value of these 2 items shouldn't be lower than 10 substandard god crystals. It was just a matter of how useful they were. For example, if the inheritance within an inheritance sacred weapon wasn't something that the owner needed, then the value of the inheritance sacred weapon would be lower. Zhao Feng, give me the Imperial Sky Qi absorption technique, and you can take the other two. What do you think? Sacred Lord Hundred Refined had a questioning tone. The first thing Sacred Lord Hundred Refined ignored was the ghost face red grass. Being someone who came from a family that specialized in combat, he was obviously more interested in the Imperial Sky Qi absorption technique. He still had a few substandard god crystals. There was still a long time until the Imperial tombs, and there were still many opportunities to obtain substandard god crystals. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. Of the 3 items, only the 10 substandard god crystals had some value to him. Zhao Feng's 5-elemental wind lightning technique was already considered one of the best techniques in the world, so the Imperial Sky Qi absorption technique wasn't very useful to Zhao Feng. On the other hand, the red herb with a ghost face obviously belonged to the Tao of corpses and ghosts. Overall, Zhao Feng wasn't very satisfied with what he obtained this time. Seeing Zhao Feng frown, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined cursed in his heart. Could it be that Zhao Feng wants the Imperial Sky Qi absorption technique? Of the 3 items, the one that had the least value to them was the red herb with a ghost face. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined was just about to talk to Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng suddenly agreed. Sure, let's take the treasure. Zhao Feng immediately leapt into the air and reached out toward the 10 substandard god crystals. This ball of water and light? Zhao Feng's expression froze. When his power touched the ball of water and light, it was the same as when Xian Wuheng used softness to counter his strength in the divine illusion dimension. When Zhao Feng's physical power touched the ball of water and light, it was completely disintegrated by a mysterious intent of water. From the looks of it, this treasure wasn't something that could be casually taken. On the other side, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined didn't succeed either. There's no time left. Zhao Feng circulated his Blood Devil Sun bloodline, and a glass-like flame appeared around his body. A scorching and terrifying aura exploded, and he was like a burning sun that released a blinding light. Sacred Lightning Dominating Fist. Zhao Feng waved his fists and sent out flashes of blood-colored lightning that shot toward the ball of water, and light like a small ball of fire. Wang. The power of Zhao Feng's fist was dispelled by the ball of water and light. However, the Blood Devil Sun bloodline couldn't be dispelled. Whoosh! Whoosh! The entire ball of water and light was ignited by the glass-like flame, and it disappeared in just an instant. Water and fire counter each other. Zhao Feng revealed a faint smile as he put the 10 substandard god crystals into the misty spatial world. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's eyes lit up, and he immediately used a fire elemental technique. The ball of water and light opened, and he obtained the Imperial Sky Qi absorption technique. Leave all the treasures behind. Suddenly, a sinister and domineering voice came from a distance on the ancient path. Another group is coming. Ji Dingtian's expression tightened. However, Ji Dingtian calmed down when he saw Sacred Lord Hundred Refined and Zhao Feng. With the 3 of them, they didn't need to fear normal groups. Boom! Boom! A chaotic wave of black demonic flames suddenly appeared, and turned into a snarling figure with a black crown on his head. 9 Darkness Palace, Sacred Lord Black Demon. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined's expression changed. Zhao Feng. Sacred Lord Black Demon roared in anger as black flames erupted around his body, and he seemed like he was about to attack. At the same time, 3 more people arrived. 3 quasi-sacred lords. Ji Dingtian instantly swallowed a mouthful of spit. He didn't expect it to be the 13th prince's group. Sacred Lord Black Demon, and 3 quasi-sacred lords. Ji Dingtian wasn't confident in facing such a terrifying group. That's the 3-life evil ghost flower. Among the 3 of them, an old man wearing a purple and black cloud robe suddenly called out. His eyes lit up as he stared at the precious herbs in the water-rippling light ball in the air. 3-life evil ghost flower. Sacred Lord Black Demon's gaze moved away from Zhao Feng as he looked up, and his heart started to beat fast. Zhao Feng, the 3-life evil ghost flower isn't very useful to you. Give it to me, and I won't bother you with the grievances between you and 9 Darkness Palace. Sacred Lord Black Demon's expression was grim as he looked at the 3 in front of him. It was obvious that the three-life evil ghost flower was the spoils of war between Zhao Feng and Sacred Lord Hundred Refined. If Sacred Lord Black Demon tried to steal it, Sacred Lord Hundred Refined would stand on the same side as Zhao Feng. Therefore, Sacred Lord Black Demon pretended that as long as either Zhao Feng or Sacred Lord Hundred Refined agreed, it would be fine. That's fine. We'll talk about the grievances between me and Nine Darkness Palace after we return to the continent zone. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile as he moved a few steps to the side and signaled Sacred Lord Black Demon to take the treasure. Sacred Lord Black Demon paused for a moment. Zhao Feng agreed so easily. However, Sacred Lord Black Demon didn't care that much. Right now, the three-life evil ghost flower was the most important. Sacred Lord Black Demon turned into a ball of black flames and flew into the air. He waved his sleeves, and the terrifying power of the black flames tried to destroy the ball of water and light. However, suddenly, a gray thieving cat appeared from the ball of water and light and grinned at him before taking away the three-life evil ghost flower. A cat. Sacred Lord Black Demon revealed a surprised expression. Why would a cat suddenly appear from the ball of water and light? Not good. Sacred Lord Black Demon suddenly remembered something. The next instant, the thieving cat's figure disappeared from the ball of water and light. At the same time, a pair of scarlet wings of lightning spread behind Zhao Feng's back, and he turned into a bolt of red and white lightning that flew toward the ancient path. The three quasi-sacred lords didn't even have time to react. It was obvious that Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat had planned this from the very beginning. They didn't plan on giving the treasure to Sacred Lord Black Demon. Zhao Feng, Sacred Lord Black Demon roared as he turned into a ball of black flames and charged toward the ancient path. Chapter 943. Zhao Feng, Sacred Lord Black Demon roared as he turned into a ball of black flames and charged into the ancient path. The other members following Sacred Lord Black Demon were dazed for a moment before immediately following. Ha ha ha, as expected of Zhao Feng. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined roared with laughter. He couldn't do anything to Zhao Feng at all, so he felt extremely satisfied seeing that Sacred Lord Black Demon was being toyed with by Zhao Feng. Sacred Lord Black Demon was the strongest initial stage Mystic Light Realm expert of Nine Darkness Palace. Apparently, he already had the ability to break through to the early stages of the Mystic Light Realm. The three-life evil ghost flower originally belonged to Zhao Feng, so it had nothing to do with him. Now that the 13th Prince's group had been lured away by Zhao Feng, he and Ji Dingtian were much more relaxed. Sacred Lord Hundred Refined didn't want to become enemies with Sacred Lord Black Demon. Nine Darkness Palace was a peak 3-star power that was once a 4-star demonic Dao power at its peak. Its foundation was even deeper than the 8 big families. Nine Darkness Palace had 2 spots for the Crown Prince trial: Sacred Lord Black Demon and Quasi-Sacred Lord Shipeng. If his guesses were correct, Sacred Lord Black Demon definitely had that item on him. A bolt of scarlet and white lightning flashed across the dim ancient path like a shooting star. Zhao Feng ate some green water sky lotus leaves and fruits on the way. If it was any other force, it wouldn't be a problem for Zhao Feng to give up this useless 3-life evil ghost flower. Nine Darkness Palace definitely wouldn't do that. Furthermore, how could Zhao Feng believe Sacred Lord Black Demon's words? Zhao Feng, as long as you give me the 3-life evil ghost flower, I promise that I won't do anything to you during the Crown Prince trial. Sacred Lord Black Demon's voice sounded from afar. Sacred Lord Black Demon, there's no need to waste words. Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he increased his speed. Zhao Feng wasn't scared of anyone during the Crown Prince trial. If that's the case, then you don't need to leave the Imperial tombs. Sacred Lord Black Demon also gave up on negotiating. Black ink escape. Black flames erupted from Sacred Lord Black Demon's body, and a powerful current of black flames surrounded his legs. A surge of black flames exploded beneath his feet, and Sacred Lord Black Demon felt as if he was gliding through the air, and the resistance against him decreased. Zhao Feng paused for a moment as he watched Sacred Lord Black Demon close the distance between them. Thunder Wings spatial flash. Zhao Feng's wings flickered, and his speed increased once again. He suddenly turned into a scarlet arc of lightning, fusing into the void, and flickered for a short distance. Not good, the spaceflight secret skill is suppressed here. Zhao Feng's face darkened. His spatial secret technique was restricted here, and Sacred Lord Black Demon's speed secret technique wasn't affected much. However, even then, it was impossible for Sacred Lord Black Demon to catch up to him in a short amount of time. Xiao. In the ancient path, a scarlet arc of lightning and a pitch-black demonic figure rapidly traveled, one in front and one behind. Exit. A spot of light appeared in front of the dim ancient path. Ooh. Zhao Feng suddenly rushed out from the ancient path and soared into the sky. Zhou Suer isn't here. Zhao Feng scanned the area below. Sacred Lord Black Demon probably didn't dare to do anything to Zhou Suer. He probably just forced her to use the array within her dragon jade. At the same time, a pitch-black demonic figure slid out from the ancient path. Wind Lightning Eye Flame. Zhao Feng was already prepared. He locked onto Sacred Lord Black Demon the moment he appeared, and a golden light flashed in his left eye. Boom. A half-transparent dark purple eye flame with the aura of God Tribulation lightning whistled through the air and landed on Sacred Lord Black Demon's body. Wang, the black crown on Sacred Lord Black Demon's head released a dark light, and a layer of spiritual light covered Sacred Lord Black Demon's body. The power of Sacred Lord Black Demon's soul attack was reduced by 1 level. Adding on the fact that he was a Sacred Lord level soul, he was able to completely block Zhao Feng's soul flame. However, the power of the God Tribulation lightning couldn't be removed. Boom. Sacred Lord Black Demon's soul and the black crown on his head were both injured. Intent of destruction. Sacred Lord Black Demon's expression turned to surprise. The intent of destruction was born to destroy. Even if one's technique was extremely profound, the recovery ability of the indestructible body would be suppressed. Sacred Lightning Dominating Body. Zhao Feng's body started to become taller as a layer of golden blue lightning radiated from his body. He was like a golden tower of lightning that suppressed everything. The only reason he rushed out was to confirm Zhou Suer's situation. With his advantage in the ancient dimension, there was no need for him to be scared of Sacred Lord Black Demon. Sacred Lord Black Demon, if you want to fight, then let's fight. Zhao Feng turned into a scarlet bolt of golden lightning and crushed forward like a metallic mountain of lightning. Demonic Flame Sacred Power. Sacred Lord Black Demon snickered coldly as he thrust out his palm. A pitch-black beam of light almost pierced through the air and arrived in front of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's heart went cold. He felt as if his body and soul had been pierced through along with the surrounding space. This attack was the same as the 9 Darkness Demonic Lords. Sacred Lightning Protection. Zhao Feng merged his Sacred Lightning body with the power of Wind Lightning. Wang, a layer of solid, ancient lightning pattern barrier immediately appeared. The surface of the barrier glittered with golden lightning and blocked the pitch-black light. The surface of the simple and unadorned Wind Lightning astral shield rumbled with thunder, and rays of light intertwined. Zhao Feng's eyes became grim. The battle power that Sacred Lord Black Demon displayed was much stronger than Sacred Lord 100 refined. Furthermore, he specialized in speed and secret techniques, so he wouldn't fight Zhao Feng in close combat. Boom. A glass-like flame suddenly appeared around Zhao Feng's body, and a scorching and terrifying aura exploded like a burning sun. In an instant, it was as if Zhao Feng's entire body was on fire. His body was bright red, and with the addition of his Sacred Lightning body, he seemed like a flaming demonic sovereign. Bam! The wings behind Zhao Feng's back fluttered as he charged down and punched out. Since Sacred Lord Black Demon didn't want to fight Zhao Feng in close combat, he would give up on defense and approach Sacred Lord Black Demon first. Boom! With the buff of the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline, Zhao Feng's speed instantly exploded and approached Sacred Lord Black Demon. As I thought, it's related to the Tai family, but do you really think that 9 Darkness Palace will be scared of the Tai family? Sacred Lord Black Demon couldn't help but snicker. Sacred Lord Black Demon thrust out another palm, and a pitch-black light instantly arrived in front of Zhao Feng. Boom! Zhao Feng's speed didn't decrease as he circulated his Sacred Lightning body and blocked Sacred Lord Black Demon's attack head-on with the buff of the Blood Devil Sun bloodline. Wang, the barrier of lightning was shattered, and a bright layer of golden lightning was reflected back, but it wasn't able to injure Sacred Lord Black Demon. The weakened black flaming sacred power landed on Zhao Feng's body. However, Zhao Feng wasn't scared at all. Lightning Wing's spatial flash. Zhao Feng's speed suddenly increased dramatically as he turned into a bolt of red lightning and appeared in front of Sacred Lord Black Demon. A scarlet blood-colored fist of lightning punched out. "Junior, I was waiting for you to come over." Sacred Lord Black Demon revealed a wicked and overjoyed expression as black demonic flames erupted from his body like lava. The invisible pressure made Zhao Feng feel pressured. Not good. Zhao Feng felt that something was wrong. He didn't expect Sacred Lord Black Demon to have another move. However, he had already punched out, so he couldn't retreat. He could only control the scarlet wings of lightning to change his position and charge to the side. Too late, Zhao Feng. The demonic light around Sacred Lord Black Demon merged into the air and blocked out the sun. Everything within 1,000 miles became a world of darkness, and one could faintly see chaotic and dark things within. Little world? Your strength? Zhao Feng's expression was filled with surprise. With the suppression of the ancient dimension, it should be very hard for the little world of an emperor, or the world projection of a sacred lord to merge into the air. Unless they were like Zhao Feng, whose little world contained an ancient aura, and was a product of the ancient dimension, they wouldn't be able to merge into the air. Furthermore, the pressure that Sacred Lord Black Demon radiated made Zhao Feng's heart shake, and he felt like he couldn't breathe. That's right. Normal emperors can only use 50% of their strength here, and the limit of a sacred lord is 60%. However, did you really think that Nine Darkness Palace wasn't prepared for this? Sacred Lord Black Demon roared with laughter. Hearing that, Zhao Feng felt that what Sacred Lord Black Demon said was true. If it wasn't for the fact that he had been affected by the ancient aura for a long time, he would only be able to use 40% of his strength at the late stages of the Void God realm. After getting used to it for a while, Zhao Feng could now use 60% of his strength. However, the aura that Sacred Lord Black Demon radiated right now was too terrifying. It definitely wasn't 60% of the limit of a sacred lord. Ha ha ha, Nine Darkness Palace has been prepared for this for a long time. After 10,000 years of accumulation, we paid a huge price to create a treasure that can adapt to the laws of space here. Sacred Lord Black Demon felt extremely satisfied when he saw the panic on Zhao Feng's face. I can use almost 80% of my strength now. Apart from those sacred lords who also have this treasure, I'm an unrivaled existence. A black light flashed in Sacred Lord Black Demon's eyes as he waved his hand, and he grasped a few wisps of the laws of the ancient dimension. An invisible force and the power of the little world projection instantly suppressed Zhao Feng to the point where he couldn't move, and found it hard to breathe. Zhao Feng died. Sacred Lord Black Demon once again used a technique from the Nine Darkness Sacred Scroll, and thrust out his palm. A pitch-black light instantly appeared in front of Zhao Feng. It was as if Sacred Lord Black Demon's palm had landed right in front of Zhao Feng, and it was strengthened by the little world projection, making it even more condensed. Spatial movement. A faint ripple of eye bloodline power appeared in front of Zhao Feng. Whoosh. The part of the pitch-black light that reached Zhao Feng's body suddenly disappeared. The two ends of the pitch-black light split into two and brushed past Zhao Feng's body from the left and right. Spatial movement. This usage of space, Sacred Lord Black Demon paused for a moment. His information didn't describe Zhao Feng's ability at all. His expression suddenly changed as if he had sensed something. Whoosh. The pitch-black light that disappeared just happened to pass through his head, and a faint black blood-colored light appeared. Ridiculous. Sacred Lord Black Demon roared in a low tone. Although this move didn't do much damage to him since he had the sacred body of the demonic Tao, he had never been humiliated like this before. However, to be injured by his own ultimate skill, this kind of humiliation was something he had never experienced before. Dark Demon Sacred Light. Sacred Lord Black Demon instantly waved his palms, and countless pitch-black lights shot out and surrounded Zhao Feng as if they had a life of their own. Sacred Lord Black Demon wasn't an idiot. He immediately knew that Zhao Feng's spatial movement could only target smaller attacks. I'll force you to use the teleportation array with this move. The next time will be the day you die. Sacred Lord Black Demon laughed wickedly as he stood in the world of darkness like a peerless demon god. At this moment in time, the 3 members of Sacred Lord Black Demon's group rushed out of the palace where the Imperial Sky Inheritance was located. So strong. The medical grandmaster of the Duanmu family was stunned. The only outcome for underestimating 9 Darkness Palace is death. Shi Peng, who was wearing purple and black robes, snickered coldly as he looked at Zhao Feng, who was trapped by Sacred Lord Black Demon. Chapter 944. I'll force you to use the teleportation array with this move. Next time will be the day you die. Sacred Lord Black Demon laughed wickedly as he stood in the world of darkness, like a peerless demonic god. Zhao Feng's expression became grim. He indeed didn't expect Sacred Lord Black Demon to have a treasure that could adapt to the ancient dimension. This wasn't the first time the Crown Prince trial had been held. The early stages of the Crown Prince trial were heavily suppressed by the ancient dimension. The peak forces of the continent had probably been researching countermeasures a long time ago. Treasures that could adapt to the ancient dimension had probably only appeared in the last few Crown Prince trials. Furthermore, it wasn't something that just any faction could possess. This meant that the geniuses of the Yu family, Tai family, and other top forces should have these treasures as well. An invisible alarm sounded in Zhao Feng's mind. Even if Zhao Feng used all his hidden cards, it was hard to say who would win against a peak Sacred Lord of the Demonic Dao who could use 80% of his strength. He had used too much true Yuan fighting against Sacred Lord 100 refined in the Imperial Sky Inheritance, and Zhao Feng had also used up a lot of his eye intent in the Imperial Sky Inheritance. Furthermore, 9 Darkness Palace's foundation couldn't be underestimated. Sacred Lord Black Demon had definitely prepared many methods, such as the defensive soul treasure above his head, and the treasure that could adapt to the ancient dimension. Below, there were still 3 peak quasi-sacred lords in 9 Darkness Demonic Lords group. The current situation was extremely bad for Zhao Feng. Since he was trapped in the projection of Sacred Lord Black Demon's little world, he couldn't use the Misty Spatial World's teleportation ability. Zhao Feng activated the hidden array within his Dragon Jade without hesitation. Wang, on the Dragon Jade, a mysterious and complicated formation instantly spread out. Zhao Feng's entire body was covered in a layer of draconic light, and his figure flashed before disappearing. The next time you see me will be the day you die. Sacred Lord Black Demon had a cold expression. The 3 people below the ancient path also felt that it was a pity. There was nothing they could do about this. Everyone's Dragon Jade had an array like this in it, and it was a life-saving talisman in the Imperial Tombs. In the Imperial Tombs, outside the Black Wind Valley Forbidden area, 4 figures were hidden in a huge rock. Olding, what should we do? The 9th Prince asked. The wind of darkness in Black Wind Valley Forbidden Zone has weakened again. Jing Kai released his spiritual sense. At the same time, he also sensed that another 3-man team had entered. Old Ying's murky eye scanned over everyone, and he revealed a helpless expression. Although they had 4 members now, Zhou Suer's combat power was low. Jing Kai seemed calm, but under the immense pressure, he had lost confidence in himself. Therefore, the 9th Prince couldn't enter with them. Although the princes could rely on draconic providence to increase their strength and fight those of a higher level, they were not as strong as the other princes. However, the Pseudo-Crown Prince seal didn't have a life-saving teleportation array. The Pseudo-Crown Prince seal could only communicate with the Grand Imperial Hall in the outside world. If the prince used the Pseudo-Crown Prince seal to ask for help and admit defeat, then everyone, including the prince, would lose the right to participate in the Crown Prince trial, and they would be teleported away. Therefore, the princes were usually the targets that many teams worked together to deal with. As long as the prince used his Pseudo-Crown Prince seal to ask for help, everyone would leave. 9th Highness, you cannot enter. Olding said with certainty. I know that. The 9th Prince understood and felt helpless. The prince was the main character of the Crown Prince trial. and he had the ability to use Draconic Providence. He was also the target of the other teams. If there weren't many people, he and Old Ying's team would be the strongest battle power, and they would be unstoppable. However, if there were a lot of people, he would become the main target, and he would only attract hatred. Although the danger level of the Black Wind Valley Forbidden Zone has decreased, the array in Princess Zhou Ur's Dragon Jade has already been used, so we can't enter. Olding analyzed. If they used the only life-saving array in the Dragon Jade, they would be courting death if they entered the Forbidden Zone. On top of that, Zhou was a doctor. That means that only Olding and I are left. Jingkai's expression became grim, and he didn't feel confident at all. Just him and Old Ying's battle power was too low. Putting aside the danger of the Black Wind Valley Forbidden Zone, they wouldn't even be able to fight against the other teams. Therefore, there was no point in entering the Forbidden Zone. Why don't we give up on the Black Wind Valley Forbidden Zone? There's no need to take this risk. Zhou suggested. The wind of darkness in the Black Wind Valley Forbidden Zone suddenly became weaker, but it was still very dangerous. The overall strength of the team was still weak, so the ninth prince couldn't reveal himself. Just as everyone was hesitating, Wang, a draconic light suddenly flashed in front of the ninth prince, and an invisible golden array started to spread. Everyone's expressions became grim. They knew that someone was about to be teleported over. Zhaofeng. Old Ying's team let out a breath. They already knew that Zhaofeng's team had met Nine Darkness Palace's team through Zhou. If it was a member of Shen Jizi's team that was teleported over, then the situation wouldn't be very good. Zhaofeng, you're here as well. I was forced by Nine Darkness Palace to use the teleportation array. Zhou immediately said as hatred flashed through her eyes. Nine Darkness Palace was the force behind the 13th prince. And I only used the teleportation array because I met Sacred Lord Black Demon. Zhaofeng bluntly said. Sacred Lord Black Demon. Olding and company's expressions changed. Sacred Lord Black Demon was a mystic light realm genius of Nine Darkness Palace. His true strength was close to an early-stage Sacred Lord, and he was one of the strongest opponents in this trial. If they met him, Zhaofeng and Zhou would be forced to use the teleportation array. There was nothing they could do about it. If Old Ying's team met Sacred Lord Black Demon, even if the ninth prince received Draconic Providence, he wouldn't have a chance of winning. There's nothing we can do about it, but why do you want to go to such a dangerous inheritance? Jingkai expressed that he understood, but at the same time, he felt that Zhaofeng was being too arrogant. If Zhaofeng didn't participate in the Imperial Sky inheritance, he wouldn't have encountered such a thing. A beast tamer, and a doctor going to the inheritance of a late-stage mystic light realm Sacred Lord? Wasn't that just courting death? Let's not talk about that for now. Zhaofeng, what do you think about this forbidden ground? Olding stopped Jingkai and looked at Zhaofeng. Olding wasn't able to estimate Zhaofeng's strength, but it shouldn't be weaker than normal quasi-sacred lords. On top of that, Zhaofeng was outstanding in other aspects as well. Olding, Jingkai, and Zhaofeng's overall strength was about the same. Zhaofeng looked into the distance and understood that the danger of the Black Wind Canyon Forbidden Ground had decreased. Since it was a forbidden ground, not many people had explored it before, and the fortune within was self-evident. The three of us will go in while Zhou and the ninth prince will stay outside. However, this place isn't hidden enough. Zhaofeng soon gave his opinion. Old Ying's eyes lit up. Zhaofeng had the same thoughts as him. When Zhaofeng and Zhou were together, they went to the Imperial Sky inheritance. Now that the Black Wind Canyon Forbidden Ground was right in front of him, he definitely wouldn't retreat. There's an even more hidden place? Olding had a puzzled look. He had found this place after careful analysis, and from Old Ying's point of view, it was extremely hidden and safe. The ninth prince and Zhou had to hide in a place that was absolutely safe. Zhou's battle power was very low, which meant that the ninth prince would have to protect Olding and Zhou at the same time. Yes, it's right there. Zhaofeng pointed into the distance. Olding looked over with his single eye. This is indeed a good place. Old Ying's single murky eye instantly flashed. The place that Zhao Feng pointed out was at the edge of the Black Wind Canyon forbidden ground. However, due to the unique geography of the place, it wasn't affected by the Wind of Darkness at all. Furthermore, this place was very close to the Black Wind Canyon, so normal people wouldn't go near it and wouldn't think that there was someone hiding there. The Wind of Darkness could block divine senses, and it could be used as a cover for the Ninth Prince. This was an extremely hidden and safe place. Old Ying's gaze became deeper as he looked at Zhao Feng. He couldn't understand how Zhao Feng was able to find this place in an instant. Okay, then it's decided. Jing Kai and Zhao Feng will follow me into the Black Wind Canyon forbidden ground. The Ninth Prince and Zhou Su'er will hide there. Old Ying spoke very quickly. Since they had chosen to enter the Black Wind Canyon forbidden ground, they obviously had to seize the opportunity as soon as possible. Jing Kai wasn't sure. He wanted to say something, but he stopped after seeing Old Ying's confident expression. From his point of view, having an extra beast tamer wouldn't give the group much of an advantage. Although they would have the help of the beast tamer's pets, they also had to protect the beast tamer's safety. Zhao Feng, give the Draconic Providence in your Dragon Jade to the Ninth Prince first. Old Ying suddenly said while they were moving. Okay. Zhao Feng didn't care. Draconic Providence wasn't very useful to him. Giving it to the Ninth Prince would increase his chances of survival. Your Dragon Jade. Jing Kai was instantly surprised. The Dragon Jade in Zhao Feng's hand gave off a bright glow, and draconic carvings flashed. It was obvious that it had a lot of draconic providence. When Zhou Su'er came back, the light from her Dragon Jade surprised Old Ying and company. They didn't expect Zhao Feng's Dragon Jade to glow even brighter. And my luck is good. I managed to break through a few early-stage Mystic Light Realm inheritances. Zhao Feng smiled. He hadn't used any Draconic Providence since entering the Imperial Tombs, so he obviously had more Draconic Providence than Zhou Su'er. The Ninth Prince looked at Zhao Feng and immediately took out his pseudo-Crown Prince seal to transfer the Draconic Providence. Jing Kai's face went green. He followed Old Ying and successfully broke through 2 inheritances. He thought that he was the one with the most rewards out of the 3 groups. He didn't expect that Zhao Feng, a beast tamer, and Zhou Su'er would be able to break through a few inheritances. Their luck was just too good. Okay, let's go. Old Ying led Zhao Feng and Jing Kai and charged out first. After seeing that there was no one else around, the Ninth Prince and Zhou Su'er immediately moved to the hiding place that Zhao Feng told them about. Boom, boom, boom. In the entire Black Wind Valley forbidden ground, gusts of dark wind bared their fangs and brandished their claws, wreaking havoc. They felt a limitless dark aura when they entered, and the world seemed to change from day to night. The Wind of Darkness has a corrosive effect. Circulate your true yuan to protect yourself. Old Ying immediately said. If the Black Wind Canyon forbidden ground wasn't weakened, the Wind of Darkness outside would be able to kill peak-tier kings. The deeper they went, the stronger the Wind of Darkness became. Even sacred lords wouldn't be able to withstand it. Chapter 945. The Dark Yin Wind has a corrosive effect. Circulate your true yuan to protect yourself. Old Ying immediately said. If this was the Black Wind Canyon forbidden ground, the Dark Yin Wind on the outskirts would be able to kill peak-tier kings. The deeper one went, the stronger the Dark Yin Wind became. Even a sacred lord wouldn't be able to withstand it. The entire Black Wind Valley was shrouded in darkness. The raging Dark Yin Wind sounded like the wails of ghosts and the howls of wolves. When the Dark Yin Wind touched Zhao Feng's protective True Yuan, a part of it passed through his True Yuan and passed through his body. This Dark Yin Wind has a baleful air of yin that can enter the soul. Zhao Feng was faintly surprised. The forbidden ground left behind in this ancient dimension was indeed extraordinary. He didn't know what other dangers there were apart from the Dark Yin Wind. That's right. If one's mind isn't strong enough, the baleful air of yin will awaken the evil in their hearts and twist their personality. Old Ying added. The Dark Yin Wind has such an ability. Jing Kai's body trembled. He felt that this place was weird. The trio was extremely cautious as they ventured deeper into the Black Wind Canyon. Due to the Dark Yin Wind, visibility was very low. Even Zhao Feng's left eye wasn't an exception, and his vision was severely obstructed. Unless Zhao Feng used the abilities of his golden eye, it would consume too much energy. Dark wind grass, Jing Kai suddenly said. The trio looked closely, and there were indeed a few stalks of dark wind grass in the cracks of the rocks not far away. Although the dark wind grass wasn't very high grade, it was extremely rare. It was a great resource for cultivating wind elemental techniques. Herbs that contained both the wind element and the power of Yin were extremely rare in the continent zone. Zhao Feng walked up and started to pick them. Zhao Feng, this dark wind grass is affected by the dark Yin wind, and contains the power of Yin as well. Although you cultivate the element of wind, the power of Yin isn't easy to get rid of. Olding reminded. Olding had seen Zhao Feng's mysterious method of getting rid of the poison in the Saint Herb Pavilion. However, at that time, the Sky Rainbow Fire Beehive had accidentally merged with the poison. On the other hand, the dark Yin wind grass in the Black Wind Canyon had been affected by the dark Yin wind for a long time, and had changed. The power of Yin within it was extremely hard to get rid of. I know, Zhao Feng replied. Seeing that there were more herbs in front of him, he immediately went to pick them. With Zhao Feng's soul will and the power of the destruction tribulation lightning, he wasn't afraid of mere Yin Qi. If the baleful Yin Qi was strong enough, it could even temper the mind. Olding, it's fine if he doesn't listen to us. Jing Kai shook his head. He didn't like Zhao Feng's perfunctory attitude toward Olding. On the way to the imperial tombs, Olding led the 9th prince and Jing Kai to perfectly conquer 2 inheritances, and avoid all the dangers. Jing Kai admired Olding's strength and experience. The only thing he didn't understand was why Olding trusted Zhao Feng so much. Olding was originally planning on leaving the Black Wind Canyon Forbidden Ground, but he changed his mind because of Zhao Feng's arrival. From his point of view, the addition of Zhao Feng to the team was insufficient to deal with the crisis in Black Wind Valley. Zhao Feng felt a weird undulation of soul will. His left eye could clearly see a black figure hidden in the black wind ahead. Watch out! Olding and Jing Kai also sensed it, and immediately charged forward. Roar! A cold and sinister roar came from the surrounding dark and sinister winds. A black figure turned into a condensed black wind, and leaped toward Zhao Feng. A snarling mouth could be faintly seen within the black wind. Olding circulated his true yuan, and pointed out with his finger. Whoosh! A dark beam of light shot out from Olding's finger, and entered the air, directly hitting the ball of black wind. Whoosh! The black wind turned into a black humanoid monster that lay on the ground. Its large mouth and teeth rubbed against each other, as if it hadn't eaten in a long time. It was extremely ugly and ferocious. What monster is this? Jing Kai's body started to tremble. He immediately circulated his true yuan, and countless rays of golden light surrounded him. Whoosh! 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 Countless rays of golden light shot out rhythmically, and stabbed toward the black monster. Whoosh! Whoosh! Several rays of golden light stabbed into the black monster's body, but they weren't very effective. Roar! The black monster seemed to be slightly angry, and it roared at Jing Kai. A strong gust of black wind instantly merged with the surrounding black wind and charged toward Jing Kai. Why isn't there any effect? Jing Kai roared as he waved his left hand, and a giant vine drilled out of the ground to block the black wind. However, the air of Yin that could affect souls passed through the vine, and landed on Jing Kai's soul, causing him to feel a cold pain. This is a Black Wind Yin ghost. It's a unique combination of the Black Wind Canyon's black wind and the soul. Only soul-level attacks are effective. Olding immediately warned before pointing out a few more times. Whoosh! The dark beam of light disappeared into the air, and instantly landed on the Black Wind Yin ghost's weak point. A tearing roar sounded. The Black Wind Yin ghost's body slowly crumbled into countless wisps of wind elemental air of Yin that merged into the air. Zhao Feng put away the Yin wind grass after seeing that Olding had dealt with the Black Wind Yin ghost. He slowly stood up. These Black Wind Yin ghosts were unique. Their overall strength was comparable to normal kings, and they could unleash more power in a special place like the Black Wind Canyon. You're a beast tamer. Don't go too far away from us. Jing Kai went up and yelled at Zhao Feng. From his point of view, Zhao Feng didn't even dare to move because of the black winding ghost. If it weren't for him and Old Ying, the consequences would have been unimaginable. These black stones also contain a strong element of yin wind. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto a small black stone on the wall in front of him. Anger appeared in Jing Kai's eyes as he faced Zhao Feng's disregard. Boom. These monsters are so troublesome. The sound of fighting sounded out not far away. It was obvious that the other groups were also being attacked by the black winding ghosts. The experts that entered this place were all top-tier existences amongst those of the same cultivation. None of them were easy to deal with. Use soul attacks. They soon found the weakness of the black winding ghosts and instantly took care of them. One of the elders saw a few figures beside him and immediately shouted, "May I know which prince you are a member of?" At this moment, exploring the Black Wind Valley Forbidden Grounds opportunities together is of utmost importance. Are you willing to temporarily join forces with us? Old Ying slowly walked over. That's good. Everyone can look out for each other. The group of 3 at the front were all members of the 6th Prince's team. The leader was a quasi-sacred lord and the regulations elder of the 3-star glass gate. The other 2 members were a young emperor and a quasi-sacred lord. So it's Old Ying. The elder in purple robes had a smile on his face. Why is there another king? The young emperor in the purple-robed elders group had a surprised expression. From his point of view, Old Ying's group was slightly weak. Since that king was able to enter this place, he should have a soul-protecting treasure. The other quasi-sacred lord also glanced at Zhao Feng but didn't say anything. We just found a cave and were about to enter when we met many black wind-yin ghosts. The purple-robed elder had a faint smile. His intentions were obvious. Let's go and see what's going on. Old Ying's expression didn't change. Old Ying knew that the other party wouldn't have invited them if there wasn't any danger. Under the purple-robed elder's lead, the group saw the entrance to a cave after just a few steps. This time, no black wind-yin ghosts charged out, so the group carefully entered. The moment they entered the black stone cave, a powerful wave of baleful yin qi washed over everyone's souls. The young emperor in the purple-robed elders group instantly started to scream in pain. Jing Kai wasn't much better off, and his expression twisted as he struggled. The souls of the other 3 quasi-sacred lords were stronger, and they might even have soul-protecting treasures, so they weren't affected much. Zhao Feng instantly caught the attention of the purple-robed elder and the other quasi-sacred lord. The purple-robed elder glanced at Zhao Feng. This junior is only at the late stages of the Void God realm, but his expression isn't changing at all in the face of this evil wind. From the looks of it, the soul-protecting treasure in his hands isn't simple. This is the power of a little world? Old Ying's emotionless voice sounded. Could this be the inheritance of a sacred lord? The purple-robed elder moved his attention away from Zhao Feng and started to sense the strength of a sacred lord that was able to set up an inheritance in the Black Wind Canyon wasn't simple, but the difficulty of the test would definitely be higher. Everyone instantly sped up. The inheritances of late-stage Mystic Light Realm sacred lords in the imperial tombs were all in the hands of the groups of the top 5 princes. They were too weak, so it was hard for them to even get a share. Old Ying's group was the same. They hadn't even explored the inheritances of late-stage sacred lords yet. A dark world of ice and snow appeared in front of them after just a few steps. In the center of this world of ice and snow stood a tattered ice castle. There aren't any tests? Old Ying had a grim expression, and his voice was hoarse. This small world inheritance was slightly different from the small world inheritance that he had visited before. Nothing had happened since they had entered the place. This little world is in tatters. The test of the inheritance has probably been destroyed. The purple-robed elder looked around. After seeing nothing happen for a long time, the 6 of them started to cautiously approach the ice castle. Inheritance sacred weapon. The young emperor saw an item through the cracks of the ice castle, and his speed increased dramatically as he charged in. The purple-robed elder had a calm expression and didn't stop him. Following this, the crowd watched as the young martial monarch easily stored the black hammer into his storage space. Old Ying and the purple-robed elder's eyebrows furrowed. They felt that something was wrong. Everyone sped up and entered the ice castle. Countless tattered books were on the right side of the ice castle, and weapons were on the left side. At the center of the ice castle was a large blue crystal coffin with a skeleton inside. There was a dark golden ring next to the skeleton. The inheritance of a little world. The purple-robed elder was stunned. He found it hard to believe that they had arrived at the inheritance of a sacred lord so easily, and without any obstacles. At the same time, he regretted inviting Olding and company. He originally thought that the cave would be filled with danger. I was the one who brought you into this little world, and none of you did anything. We will take 70% of the inheritance, and you will take 30%. The purple-robed elder turned around and smiled faintly at Olding. His tone was certain, and he had no intention of negotiating. The two groups instantly looked at each other, and the atmosphere became silent. The purple-robed elder and company all had cold smiles on their faces. Olding, your group is too weak. Otherwise, we could have split the inheritance 50-50. The purple-robed elder didn't try to hide it anymore. The group he was in had 2 quasi-sacred lords and 1 emperor. No matter how one looked at it, they had completely crushed Old Ying's group. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.